Okay. What up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Ricky Franco with the Cool World TV. Network. Okay, so basically, Cool World channel. Like, subscribe, comment. I appreciate it. A lot for an up and coming channel that's trying to get our foot in the door. We have the four of us. It's your boy me, Ricky Franco. We have our boy Ben Kaz. We have Lavia and AD. All four of us, we all come in here. We come in and we talk about whatever topics we want to talk about. Guys have any specific topic that you want to talk about, please, join our community. Voice your opinions. What you feel is right, wrong. There are no wrong here. Okay. But today we're going to King Von document because, frankly, pull up the doc.
I'm not like my dad. I'm smarter than him. I'm better than him.
Warning, this video...
All right. So, I don't like this term serial killer. Now, I'm not saying that this documentary is not going to change my opinion. I don't know. But I'm going to tell you right here, right now, I don't like the term serial killer. Because if he was such a serial killer, at least in my opinion, wouldn't the police have already arrested him? Not like he wasn't doing anything crafty to getting away from police. He's not the Zodiac killer. I don't like the term serial killer. I honestly, I just believe that and I'm not saying that King Von wasn't involved in any of the murders. What I'm saying is that he wasn't alone. Well, at least I don't believe it. And I believe that the Chicago, and I think all Chicago, well, I'm not going to say it straight. The Chicago Police Department are just straight garbage at doing their job. Okay. They basically, when King Von died, they just pinned all the murders on him. So they didn't have to do their job. That's basically what happened. At least that's my opinion on the matter. That's why I want to watch this documentary. I want to see what I don't. There's a lot I don't know. I'm not trying to say I know it all, but I think it's crazy. I think this whole thing situation. Into watching this documentary, see if we can see some new information that we weren't privy to.
Contains themes of violence, death, and gang activity. This video is for educational and documentary purposes only. This video is not intending to incite or encourage illegal behavior in any way. Every effort has been made to remove any content which violates YouTube's community guidelines. If you'd like to see an uncut version of this video with everything that I can't show you on YouTube, head on over to patreon.com/traplawross. Supporters of the channel also get access to my recent vlogs with Academics and Adam22, as well as my old deleted King Von videos, and supporters on the $5 tier will also have access to my exclusive 4-part Patreon series where I break down real crimes caught on camera which I could never show you on YouTube. But if you don't want any of that, just sit back, enjoy the video, and hit that subscribe button. Ever since the 1980s, gangster rap has been one of hip-hop's most fascinating subgenres. From the mean streets of gang-infested Los Angeles that were brought to life by early gangster rap pioneers like Ice Cube and NWA, to Tupac and Suge Knight taking over the music game with vivid tales of gang-affiliated rappers who would bully their way into the music industry. And then you have legends like Jay-Z and 50 Cent, whose tales of life in the streets as gangsters made them millionaires hundreds of times over. For decades now, rap fans have been looking for the realest artists, whose lyrics paint the picture of a real life of crime that isn't embellished or fabricated. But when it comes to rappers who truly keep it real, the Chicago drill scene has dominated for the last decade. First popularized by Chief Keef, the Chicago drill wave was characterized by rappers that grew up in the most dangerous blocks in America, with these up-and-coming artists rapping plainly and honestly about what they experienced growing up. Shootings on the block, disrespecting dead enemies, and constantly being chased by the police. Chicago drill rappers took gangster rap to raw new heights, where the stories behind the music could be matched up with the local news reports on the latest homicides. However, what happens when the people doing the killing start making the music too? Because in the years after Chief Keef popularized the violent stories of Chicago gang life, one of those gangsters killing people in the streets picked up a microphone too, and started rapping in the first person from the perspective of the actual killer. King Von had a reputation in Chicago as a fearless killer before he'd even started rapping, and it's widely believed, based on the statements he made in his own songs, that Von himself could have killed as many as 7 people in his career as a gangbanger, with more murders even taking place after he got rich and famous, with it being rumoured that Von used his money and influence from the rap game to have old enemies in Chicago killed, and going on a journey which, in my opinion, takes him far beyond a street player who had to kill to survive in the mean streets of Chicago, because if King Von's tweets are anything to go by, he simply loved killing people. And the sheer amount of people that King Von allegedly played a role in killing has led to intense speculation as to whether he was a full-blown serial killer. A title which King Von's enemies even said that him and his friends took personal pride in. Now, the FBI defines a serial killer as a person who kills over 3 people with time spans in between them of more than a month. Furthermore, serial killers tend to have an element of psychological gratification which plays a role in the motive for their murders.
So, alright, so a serial killer is typically a person who murders 3 or more persons, taking place over more than a month. Okay.
The FBI also state that a serial killer might seek various kinds of gratification through their killings, such as anger, thrill-seeking, financial gain, or simply for attention. I personally believe that over the course of his career, King Von demonstrated all of these characteristics and can indeed be classified as a serial killer. King Von frequently exhibited behaviour in public that conformed with these rules, tweeting regularly about his desire to kill, bragging about having committed specific murders in his music, which attracted him international attention and Billboard charting songs, with his drill anthems about murdering rivals making him a rich man with millions in his bank account. The FBI also point out another characteristic of serial killers, specifically that their victims may all have something in common, for example, a demographic profile, appearance, gender, or race. And it would appear that King Von only killed young black men and women from the community he lived in. These were all people just like him, being born into a rundown part of Chicago and growing up with a lot of disadvantages. All that really separated Von from his victims were the fact that they were from a rival territory, and he believed that nobody would miss them. King Von has officially been implicated in 4 murders, 2 where he was suspected of being involved, but the police didn't have enough evidence to charge, and 1 case where he narrowly received a not guilty verdict after a key witness disappeared and a co-defendant implicated himself. Another that he's accused of organising with 5 of his closest childhood friends, the shooting of rival rapper FBG Duck in broad daylight at a busy shopping district. Von will never face justice for, due to him losing his life only months before the feds would swoop in and arrest all 5 of his close friends. This particular murder would go down as one of the most brazen assassinations carried out in Chicago since the days of Al Capone. But in total, there's over 10 murders of which King Von has been connected to over the years, and nobody has looked into all of them in great detail until now. So today, we're going to take a closer look at the man, his past, and his career to find out once and for all if King Von really was the first serial killer in hip-hop history.
He was in jail for 2 murders?
Assassinations carried out in Chicago since the
4
days of
shooters
Al
and a
Capone.
hail of bullets.
All of them was scatter bomb. All of them was scatter bomb.
Police found several shell casings in this parking lot.
King Von was bloodthirsty. He loved death. He loved killing.
I got a lot of fights. Just for how many I think?
King Von had a insatiable obsession with murder and violence.
The shooting leaves 1 person dead, 4 others injured.
Me? Hey, I know you. You ain't know me. Are you?
King Von probably would have been considered like a serial killer.
They labeled the man a serial killer. Them.
King Von, real name Davon Bennett, was born on August 9, 1994 in Chicago, Illinois, growing up on West 78th and South Hermitage in an area known as Killer Ward, an area mainly affiliated with the Chicago gangs, the Gangster Disciples, and the Black Peace Stones. Von would attend Barton Elementary School in the area, but despite starting life as a fairly normal kid in Chicago, he would be subjected to the influence of gangbanging in his family home from a young age. His father was Walter E. Bennett, aka Silk, a well-known street dude from nearby Ada Park. Von was mainly raised by his mother, as his father was in and out of jail throughout his childhood. But Von's father was apparently a legend in the streets, with ties to the street gang, the Black Disciples. However, much like Von, despite the fearsome reputation he'd earned in the streets, it would ultimately be this proximity to gang life that would lead to his father's demise, as King Von's dad Silk was shot dead when Von was only 11 years old, apparently being targeted by a sniper outside of a skating rink, according to an interview with King Von's uncle.
Rest in peace, King Von. Rest in peace, Silk. That's crazy. Like, I'm with Big Bro every day. My kill his daddy with a sniper rifle. This get deep, though. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, sniper. I hit him with a sniper rifle. They at the skating rink, but you know, that's another story.
It seems clear that King Von's father Silk was remembered as a legend of the block. However, coping with the loss of his father at such a young age clearly had a negative effect on the mindset of a young King Von. He would tweet and rap in freestyles years later that he simply couldn't sleep after his father's death.
They killed my daddy, I couldn't even go to sleep.
And throughout his teenage years, he would post RIP tributes to his father on Twitter to commemorate his birthdays. Naturally, Von would follow in his father's footsteps, getting involved in local gang politics at a young age, with Von actually telling 16-shot and visuals in his very first interview that he got involved in the streets in 4th grade, eventually getting his hands on guns by the time he got to high school.
You was like toting pipes in 4th grade, like when you started?
I probably had a BB gun or something. It wasn't that hectic, like, it ain't get, I just been, you know, in the streets with awesome. I just like being outside. I'm one of the little boys that like sneaking out, just being outside all day, just doing bad. When the gun, all that shit come to play to like what? High school. Yeah, like late 8th grade or some 7th, 8th grade when it really got to that point where you gotta hurt somebody or somebody trying to hurt you and you gotta protect yourself.
Von would rap on the unreleased song Wait that he jumped off the porch, getting deeply involved in gang politics in 2006 when he was just 12 years old. Von would initially be a member of a local street crew affiliated with the Gangster Disciples called Killer Ward, being seen in numerous group pictures with that crew. And affiliates from the area would later post tweets suggesting that Von was indeed putting in work for this crew during his time gangbanging in Killer Ward, with Von himself corroborating that he was close to the members in Killer Ward where he was born, but making it clear that he's always been a member of the Black Disciples due to his family affiliation. Now, Von would live around Killer Ward up to around 2008 or 9, after which he would eventually move to the infamous Parkway Gardens housing development. This housing complex is notorious for its affiliations with the Black Disciples street gang. Parkway Gardens would later be referred to by insiders as O Block, but prior to that, it was referred to as Wick City. And here, King Von would meet many of the people who would end up having a huge influence on his life and career. People famous for their affiliation to O Block, whether through the gang wars going on there, or through the music that had been made about the gang war. People like Boss Top, Chief Keef, T-Roy, White, Duke, BJ, Big A, Trey 5, Sharoid, J Money, Platoon, and countless other people that played a big role in Von's life growing up. Von would also attend a new school in the area, the Hyde Park Academy, where he would attend with people from other rival territories with affiliations to the Gangster Disciples. People like FBG Duck, who would even claim in a Twitter exchange in 2014 to have plotted to beat King Von up on the school bus, and people like Lil Mark, who Von would even be seen in throwback pictures with before their feud had escalated into something deadly. Von and his friends started out their gangbanging careers with fistfights with the ops at school, schoolyard scuffles that would unfortunately escalate over the coming years, developing into full-blown gang war with firearms involved. Over time, a teenage Von would begin getting more and more involved in Chicago's street gang conflicts, apparently bringing guns to school as young as age 13. Chop Squad, who went to school with both Von and G Herbo, would claim that Von would even show off guns in class, with it apparently being Von himself who started the trend of teenage gangbangers in their school bringing guns to class.
Von was the type of person to bring a pole to school at 13 for. Like, that's what me and Herb was talking about. Herb was like, he knew it was real when Von walked up to him in school. He was like, he had flashed a pole or something. He was like, Herb knew every day from there it was up. He was like, oh, we bringing guns to school? You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, it's on now. He's like, every day from there, everybody brought guns to school.
Oh, man.
And he's like, Von was the one to start that off.
In fact, G Herbo would even later rap about this on a collaboration with Von called FaceTime, saying that Von showed him a revolver in freshman orientation, an experience which led G Herbo to begin bringing guns to school himself too. Now, King Von was apparently out of control as a youngster. According to one story, Von actually did a shooting on prom night whilst wearing his suit, after literally tweeting out that somebody better not try him in his suit. So naturally, you can imagine, Von ended up spending a significant amount of time in trouble with the law as a teenager, with large patches of his most formative years spent inside jail cells. Von went to jail for the first time around August 2010, at age 16, for armed robbery, apparently robbing someone for their car at gunpoint. Something that he would actually later refer to on his song Armed and Dangerous, saying that he was arrested on August 11th, 2 days after his 17th birthday, when he was offered 21 to 45 years in a plea deal. Von would end up spending time in boot camp, an intense military-style juvenile program, ultimately rewarding him with early release. But soon after that initial charge, Von would catch another in January 2011, ultimately spending 15 months behind bars as a juvenile, being locked up between December 2010 and March 2012. And during this time of incarceration, Von's best friend T-Roy would tweet calling for his release. Eventually, in March 2012, Von would be a free man once again, but he was only free for a matter of months, from March to November 2012. But during this time, Von would undergo a transformation, going from a gun-toting stick-up kid to a full-fledged killer after witnessing the death of one of his close friends, which, as he put it, turned him into a demon.
Do you see this award behind me? Me and my twin brother Rasmus got this award because we made over $50 million.
Before we get into the first murders that King Von was allegedly involved in, I just want to take the time to consider the real reasons why he would be motivated to kill in the first place. Despite covering a lot of gangsters who are hardened killers, it's important to consider the social circumstances that need to exist for a teenage boy to start committing murders. Firstly, these areas where King Von grew up in Southside Chicago, Killer Ward and O-Block, are incredibly poor and dangerous areas, with the latter even being described by the local Sun-Times newspaper as the most dangerous block in Chicago. Part of the reason why so many of these gang murders in Chicago go unsolved is due to the failure of policing in these areas. Someone like King Von grew up seeing death and destruction as a completely normal thing. And if the police never come to your area to solve crimes or deliver justice, it's easy to see why you would place more trust in street justice than in the state. Furthermore, you really have to ponder whose fault is it really that somewhere like O-Block ended up being so poor and dangerous. While it's easy to blame the gangsters and killers there for cultivating a lawless environment, the city and the state politicians ultimately have failed to create the economic circumstances for someone to grow up safely in these areas. Had there been better economic prospects in the hoods of Chicago, perhaps many of these young men wouldn't have been forced into a life of crime and violence. Furthermore, when it comes to the analysis of King Von's eventual transformation into what some have described as a serial killer, there's actually an argument to be made that geography may have played a part in King Von feeling like he could get away with so many murders. The 70s to the 2000s have actually been described as the golden age of serial murder, and one possible cause for this phenomenon around this period has been cited as urbanization and the concentration of inner city living. Some people have said that putting so many people in such close proximity ends up offering a unique level of anonymity when it comes to committing crimes in these complicated, busy and overpopulated areas. Put simply, this means that in O-Block, the sheer amount of people, overlapping gang conflicts, and normalization of violence on the streets means that somebody like King Von could kill multiple people without attracting too much attention to him personally. As sad as it is to say, in the eyes of the cops, a victim is just another casualty of the gang war rather than a specific crime that could be solved. And it's these circumstances that were the perfect conditions for a young King Von to begin killing people in his community with minimal consequences. And whilst King Von was in jail, gun violence had raged on between the Black Disciples from Wick City and the rival Gangster Disciples from St. Lawrence and Eberhard Avenues, or STL-EBT. And during this time whilst King Von was incarcerated, a 15-year-old gangster disciple from the rival hood by the name of Tuka was murdered. Real name Shondale Gregory, Tuka was shot dead at a bus stop on the 600 block of East 63rd Street on the 12th of January 2011 at around 6:48 PM. It was around that time that a masked gunman jumped out of a vehicle, shooting Tuka several times. Tuka was hated by his rivals from the Black Disciples, and over the next decade, BDs would continue to disrespect him on social media and in popular songs. And in honor of their fallen friend, Gangster Disciples from St. Lawrence and Eberhard would rename their area Tukaville. It's never been fully revealed to the public who killed Tuka, but ever since, there has been intense speculation that a boy named O.D. Perry from Wick City might have had something to do with it. This is partly due to him being pictured regularly with a silver revolver, and the witness report from the Tuka murder stated that Tuka was actually shot with a long-barreled silver revolver. Regardless of whether or not OD was really the person who killed Tuka, that didn't really matter, because later that year, on August the 10th, 2011, in an act of retaliation, OD Perry was killed just outside Parkway Gardens. He would suffer multiple gunshot wounds, including one to the neck, at about 11:35 PM. Just like Tukaville, Wick City was also renamed in the memory of their fallen friend OD, O-Block, and it's believed that one of the shooters who killed OD was a female teenage shooter by the name of Jakira Barnes, or KI. Following the murder, KI would begin to pose on social media with a silver revolver, similar to the one that OD was known to carry, and her rumoured involvement in this murder of a beloved O-Block member would lead to KI becoming a major target herself, with matters not helped by the fact that she would regularly tweet insulting OD Perry and alluding to having killed him, along with others who would openly claim that KI made the O, meaning that she killed OD and was the one that caused Wick City to change the name of their block to O-Block. But the tragedies in O-Block were far from over. On the 18th of October 2011, another O-Block native by the name of Patoon, real name Edward Riley, would be shot dead inside O-Block after being approached by two people with firearms. Another devastating loss to the community would come when 19-year-old Sherroyd Liggins would be shot in the head and left for dead on February the 16th, 2012. Also at O-Block. This murder was particularly notable for the fact that it was believed that Sherroyd was killed by a Tukaville shooter by the name of Boss Trell. As the gang war in his neighbourhood continued to take more and more of his friends' lives, King Von would get more and more involved, continuing to play a role in the gang war going on in Chicago's street underworld. Von later rapped on the song Don't Want to Be Me that everything changed for him in 2012, and that this is when he decided to get more active in the gang war, with Von saying specifically that the deaths of OD and Patoon completely changed his plans and led him to put on a mask and get active in the gang war. Now there's a lot of speculation about the exact murders that Von was allegedly involved in, and we might never know definitively if he was truly involved in all the violence that he was rumoured to be associated with, but the very first murder that Von was associated with took place on April the 28th, 2012, when a group of 4 men would catch a man called King Doc, real name Marlon Monroe, shooting him as he walked into a convenience store, with Doc apparently stumbling into a patch of tall weeds after the shooting, where he would pass away and lay undiscovered for hours. Doc would eventually be found dead by his 16-year-old cousin, Modell McCambry. Doc would be remembered as an original native of St. Lawrence and Eberhart Avenues, with his affiliation to the area likely the reason that the killers from O-Block would target him, despite the fact that Doc had apparently left the gang life behind him, becoming a painter to get out of the streets. Apparently hurt by the death of his cousin, Modell, that boy who discovered Doc's body, would then begin to get more involved in the gangs in the area too, beginning to hang around with people like KI and FBG Duck, as well as being seen on social media with guns. In fact, it's actually around this time that social media begins to play a bigger and bigger role in the gang war in Chicago. And during this time, King Von himself would become a prolific user of Twitter, beginning a flurry of activity on the platform after signing up in June 2012, and going on to tweet constantly about his activities in the streets, seemingly with no fear about incriminating himself. Von would openly claim to be drilling in the name of OD Perry. He would say that he was like Phineas and Ferb in the streets with his best friend and fellow O-Block shooter T-Roy, warning ops not to diss them, claiming to shoot people like it's nothing. He would tweet that he's been drilling from young and even wants to kill cops too. He would say outright that he will whack people. He would regularly diss numerous rival hoods and gangs, and be claiming to be paranoid due to having so many people trying to kill him. Von claimed on Twitter to get so enraged whenever he hears the name Tuka or St. Lawrence that his trigger finger just starts itching. But during this time that Von was tweeting openly about all the crimes that he was willing to do in the streets, these crimes would continue to play out. On August the 7th, 2012, Von would make a tweet saying that homicide is in the air and that it smells like a graveyard. Then, in the early hours of the morning the following day, on August the 8th, 2012, a group of guys from O-Block, rumoured to include King Von and T-Roy, would be out looking for enemies to kill. Dirty Rel, real name Terrell Joshua, an older member with affiliations to St. Lawrence, Eberhart, and Jarrow City, who had actually moved out of Chicago but was back in town, would end up being shot dead and found on a sidewalk on the first block of East 56th Street in Washington Park just before 3:30 AM. However, in this case, retaliation would come fast. As the day of August 8th, 2012 goes by, that same evening, around 11:30 PM, King Von is out with his close friend White White, real name Tony Dunn. They would go to a convenience store together on East 63rd Street and South Martin Luther King Drive. Here, Von would go inside the store whilst White White waited outside. At this point, a gunman pulls up, shooting White White in the back, with a police officer on the scene even returning fire and hitting the shooter, who ultimately managed to escape. White White would be pronounced dead in the early hours of the morning on August the 9th, 2012. This date just so happened to be King Von's 18th birthday. This was a devastating incident for Von, who who would tweet numerous times about the murder of his friend Whitey, including this one where he said that he had just bought Whitey a pill and gone inside the store, only coming back outside to find a crowd surrounding his shot friend and at first believing that Whitey would be okay. After this, Von would tweet messages saying that this killing is what led him to act out, and in the days following, he would be pledging to kill his enemies publicly. Von later elaborated on his mindset around this period in his song Demon, saying outright that witnessing the death of his close friend Whitey on his 18th birthday is the exact thing that turned him into a demon. And Von would rap that after this, him and his right-hand man T-Roy would be doing hits back-to-back to avenge this tragic loss. Von would apparently be trying to kill much more ruthlessly after this, desperately wanting to get at rival shooters K.I. and Wooski, who had mocked White's death on Twitter. In September 2012, King Von and others caught K.I. on the train, apparently beating her up and mocking her on Twitter in the aftermath. Von would eventually catch up with K.I. in much more deadly circumstances, but not for a couple of years. For now, he would continue to gangbang in the streets with his O-Block brothers like T-Roy, ultimately winding up implicated in numerous murders as he continued to seek revenge for the murder of White, and one body at a time, building up a fearsome reputation as one of O-Block's most ruthless killers.
Why don't you own apartment buildings? Seriously, why don't you own these big apartment buildings? And I get it.
Chicago drill veteran Tay Capone would tell 16 Shot and Visuals in an interview that if you hung around King Von in 2012, you simply had to accept that you would be in shootouts.
If you was hanging with Von, you had to accept everything that came with Von. You had to accept that you was gonna be in shootings, accept that it was gonna be that, and you had to be with it, you feel me, with Von.
King Von was on a mission in 2012 to get revenge for the friends that he had lost to the gang war. Losing OD, Platoon and White turned him into a demon, he said. So he would spend every day in the streets of Chicago stalking his ops and broadcasting his activities on Twitter for the whole world to see. On September the 6th, 2012, Von would get arrested, even taking selfies for Twitter inside of the cop car. He would post pictures of him and his partner in crime, T-Roy, dubbing themselves the O-Block Savages. In fact, after posting one picture together, one woman from O-Block even suggested that Von and T-Roy stop being photographed together in case somebody sends it to the police. Von would tweet how him and T-Roy's names were ringing in the streets and that people were praising them for doing their thing, regularly using this as a catchphrase to refer to his drilling, tweeting warnings to the ops that he's about to go on their block and do his thingy thing, telling them that they have 2 hours to clear the streets and promising to blast them on sight. Von would even reflect on a conversation that he had had with T-Roy, saying that they can't die soon because they know they're going to hell for all the bad things they had done in the streets. Von would even openly tweet about shooting up Dunbar High School around this time. And unsurprisingly, he would continue to be in the eyes of the law, being picked up in October for battery. But little did the police know just how serious Von's crimes were about to get in the coming weeks. On the 13th of October 2012, Von tweeted that he is about to pop these pills and spaz out on somebody, expressing frustration that he hasn't taken anybody down for a while and saying that he's getting dry, perhaps a tweet with a double meaning that could refer to sex or murder. That very same day, Von would tweet that his ops party tonight is getting cancelled. Later, Von is tweeting asking for somebody to come and get him. And 30 minutes later, Von tweets simply, "Ha," followed by 45 Glock me. That very night of October the 13th, 2012, Modell, that same teen who had found the body of his cousin King Doc dead just 6 months before, would be walking down the street with another one of his cousins on their way to meet a girl, when just before 9:30 PM, somebody approached them on foot, opening fire. Modell would be shot in the chest and later pronounced dead in hospital. No one was ever charged with this murder or attempted murder, but many years later, police documents would be released revealing that King Von himself was positively identified by a witness as the shooter, with T-Roy apparently at the scene too. This meant that King Von was the prime suspect in the murder. And not only that, but King Von would tweet immediately after the killing. Now, it's important to remember that Twitter timestamps run on Universal Coordinated Time. That's the same as UK time, and that's where I'm reading these tweets from, which is 6 hours ahead of Chicago time. So for me to get the exact time of a tweet that was made by King Von or KI or somebody else in Chicago, I have to take the time that it shows on Twitter and -6. I'm telling you this because Modell was shot around 9:30 PM. That means that King Von tweeted who died about 17 minutes after the murder of Modell took place. And that tweet was followed by yet another one reading, "It's not safe around our way," which came less than an hour after the shooting. And Von's "who died" tweet would provoke responses from somebody who even knew Modell, with Von saying that the dead person is somebody that they know. In addition to that exchange, the female shooter from Tuckerville, KI, would end up getting arrested not long after this for apparently shooting indiscriminately into O-Block, hoping to kill anybody in retaliation for Modell. None of this seemed to bother King Von, however. as he clearly got a lot of satisfaction out of having seemingly killed again. The day after the murder of Modell, Von would tweet that him and T-Roy have a problem and that they can't stop doing their thingy thing. Von would tweet that the streets are in trouble when he's coming, and he would brush off the cops' attempts to arrest him. In fact, only 2 days after the killing, he would get into an argument with a well-known Tuckerville GD known as Wooski on Twitter. Wooski had inferred that he had been out looking to catch Von that day, asking him where they were at, with Von leaving a heartless reply saying that he was getting t-shirts made for Modell's funeral. Unsurprisingly, Von would find himself on the radar of the police following the murder of Modell, getting picked up for unlawful possession of a firearm and being questioned in October 2012, with Von later tweeting that the cops grabbed him and warned him to be careful. Apparently the cops even told Von that when they question their ops, they all talk about him and T-Roy, suggesting that their names are feared in the streets. Von would even tweet after that his own mother was beginning to hear the rumours about his violent behaviour in the streets and she was trying to put him on punishment. But Von wasn't deterred, and he kept using Twitter to increase his reputation as a killer. The following month, Von would be sending unprovoked Twitter ats at Wooski asking if he knew who killed Modell, provoking responses from numerous ops who wanted to see Von dead, including Wooski and KI. And to me, this is where we see King Von really beginning to take pleasure in killing. For years to come, he would tweet mocking Modell, saying it's messed up what happened to him and that he's a straight sucker. It's this sort of behaviour where I believe that Von crosses the line from a normal gangbanger killing to survive to a full-blown serial killer who is taking the lives of others systemically for his own personal gratification. At this point, Von has already satisfied the conditions of being a serial killer, having allegedly killed more than 3 people in different locations with large periods of time in between the killings. And his tweets express a clear tendency to take pleasure in killing and a desire to show the world what he's doing. In a way, King Von's purpose in life at this point in time wasn't just revenge and murder for sport. It was about doing these crimes and giving the world clues about what he had done. And as the story goes on, you'll see King Von constantly hint towards his crimes on social media, in his music, and even on television. But now, the pattern had emerged, and Von clearly had a thirst for blood. He was becoming a talented shooter and not facing any consequences for these crimes. And so, in the coming months, Von would be rumoured to have been connected to at least 3 more murders, with the police only catching up to him when it was too late.
What if I told you for
like,
just
not,
$1 down,
too late?
you could take
Did
home a camera, computer, iPad, camera like the A7S3.
In late 2012, Von was earning a reputation as a feared shooter in the Chicago gang wars, something he would be more than happy to broadcast to the world. Von would be seen in clips posted to social media, sliding in cars with his partner in crime T-Roy and others, throwing up gang signs and saying that they're smoking Tuka.
Yeah. Yeah. Look.
Zico. Both of the Jardels.
And he'd be seen with his boys mobbing deep in trap houses.
What's up?
And Von would even broadcast his activities rolling with the gang to the local store. Von was surprisingly open about his gangbanging life on social media, and he would be particularly active on Twitter during these violent months. He would tweet openly that he was planning to shoot at random people in traffic. He would tweet that he is STLK, or a St. Lawrence Killer, and interestingly, around these times, on the 18th of October 2012, O-Block native Chief Keef would release his hit song Love So-So, a legendary Chicago drill anthem with lyrics about killing people for disrespecting O-Block. At this point in 2012, Chief Keef had become a global rap star off the back of his single I Don't Like, which was given an all-star remix by Kanye West, and ended up landing at number 73 on the Billboard charts. That song had lyrics about the gang wars in Chicago and lives being lost, and Chief Keef's music was becoming legendary for painting a picture of reality on Chicago's most dangerous block. Of course, who could forget Chief Keef's classic anthem 300, a song with lines all about the young'uns on his block gunning people down, and a track that made it famous to diss Tuka, with Black Disciple rappers beginning a trend of saying that they're smoking on Tuka a sign of disrespect to Shondale Gregory, who had been killed in 2011. Now, King Von himself had an interesting relationship with Chief Keef's music. Von would tweet that him and T-Roy are the real-life people who these rappers are making their songs about. Von seemed proud of his career as a real gangster, the true story behind Chicago drill music. In fact, it seemed from his tweets that he took great pride in this. He would regularly quote lyrics from drill songs by Chief Keef and others, and he would continue with tweets expressing his intentions to shoot up the ops. In one, he says he just got a new gun and can't wait to use it, and he even claimed in one tweet to have shot a woman by mistake trying to shoot at a man, ending the tweet saying, "I don't care, same thing to me." It seems that Von really had to tweet pretty much any street activity that he was involved in during this time. He would tweet that he hasn't touched or seen a revolver in a while, and on October the 29th, Von would tweet saying that he was avoiding T-Roy because he was winning, presumably referring to T-Roy having a superior kill counter. So Von would tweet literally saying that he was trying to catch up with T-Roy's kill counter, saying, "Give me until Friday." And just the day after this tweet, he would find what he was looking for. On October the 30th, Von would tweet that it's his main man T-Roy's birthday. And later that day, Von tweeted that he was drilling like OD. At 8:45 AM, Von tweeted, "Check the stats," a reference to who has the most bodies in the ongoing gang war. According to the police, less than 30 minutes after this tweet was made, at around 9:13 AM, P5, aka Crack, real name Derek Johnson, would be shot multiple times in the 6200 block of South Eberhart Avenue. The 23-year-old was rushed to the hospital, but pronounced dead at 9:54 AM. The incident report would record the time of the shooting as 9:13 AM in the Chicago time zone, which on Twitter, for me, would display as 3:13 PM. That means that just 3 minutes before the recorded time of the shooting, Von tweeted, "Laughing my ass off." Then, at 9:13, the time that the police estimated the shooting took place, Von tweets, "His 45 makes his ass do 40 flips." And then, only a few hours after this early morning murder, just after noon, Von would tweet the early bird catches the worm, and then going on to tweet about ops making the news, saying that he does his thingy thang for real, saying that he erases people like he drew them, and tweeting that his ops aren't trying to win like he is, and saying that he is doing this for OD, Platoon, Sheroid, and White White. Von would claim to be finding a lot of things funny that evening.
I just think why I'm laughing because when they keep saying the thingy thing, it just sounds ridiculous. Thingy thing, like if you want to be, so then just say nothing at all. Don't.
Once again tweeting numerous times that his 40 made someone do 40 flips. As the days went by, Von's tweets would get even more bold. Just the day after the murder, he would tweet pondering whether he was messed up in the head and indicating that he thinks he's gone crazy. Things would get even more incriminating just 2 days later when Von put out a tweet reading, "Damn, Modell got killed in October, and Crack, who's gonna get killed in November? Stay tuned." And he would tweet RIP Crack and Modell, as well as tweeting asking when the funeral is. Von would even reply to KI and Wooski, who tweeted each other about going to a funeral, with Von saying that he was on his way too, and even offering them a ride. Von also tweeted at Wooski asking if he knows who made Modell World or Crack Crew, another reference to crews renaming themselves after a fallen member who's passed away. Now at this point, Von is establishing a clear pattern, getting the location of his targets, shooting them dead, and then celebrating publicly on Twitter. And within only a few weeks of the P5 incident, yet another high-profile murder would take place, with Von's involvement having been debatable, but his Twitter account telling a very different story. In November 2012, King Von would be tweeting openly about killing. He'd say that he was the go-to guy for hits in his area. He'd also say that he was the captain of the drill team, tweeting about murder and homicide, saying that he's a hitter by himself, and that the whole of O-Block are coming for their ops. He would even tweet that he was sacrificing people, as well as bizarre tweets about how much he liked cereal, something that I personally believe was a coded message indicating that Von was beginning to see himself as a serial killer, something that he would continue to do throughout his career. From here, Von would continue tweeting about wanting to shoot his ops in the face and get up close and personal, alluding to committing murder and tweeting that he had big balls and does things that other people would only dream of doing. King Von would boldly tweet that he will never get convicted of a murder, saying that he would never set himself up to go down for a body. He would mock his ops, saying some make it out alive and some make it onto the news and die. Also during this time, Von would even react to Barack Obama winning the 2012 election, something ironic considering the fact that Michelle Obama apparently also hailed from O-Block. But even in celebrating this monumental news, Von would also tweet that a black president with ties to his city simply wouldn't stop him from killing his ops. On November the 7th, 2012, Von would tweet about bodies dropping and beating the case. Later that evening, he would tweet that he was out sliding with T-Roy, who he himself would also tweet saying that he's about to go and get his gun, before replying to KI, who had just tweeted a list of a bunch of names of people associated with O-Block who had been killed, with T-Roy retaliating, providing his own list of people from KI's hood who they had apparently killed, as well as tweeting #bang just after midnight. Then, the following morning, the news would report on the shooting of a 17-year-old by the name of Rodney Stewart, aka Boss Trell. Boss Trell had been found with a gunshot wound to the head around 6:50 AM and was immediately rushed to hospital. And he would even remain alive for several hours, during which time he was visited by friends from the neighborhood like FBG Cash. But while Boss Trell was in the hospital fighting for his life, Von and T-Roy would be tweeting. T-Roy tweeted "man down" only hours after the body was discovered, with Von tweeting #TheStruggle, prompting T-Roy to infer that Von was behaving like the police. Von would follow up on this tweet, saying that people aren't dying on time, and T-Roy would also tweet mockingly, saying "no, Trell, stay alive." Then, in since-deleted tweets, allegedly by King Von, he would suggest that he had actually spent the day trying to get KI on the phone. However, Boss Trell would be pronounced dead that night at 11:30 PM on the 8th of November 2012. And the following day, King Von would take to Twitter once again to mock Boss Trell and his ops. He would tweet that STL doesn't stand for St. Lawrence, but instead for steady taking L's. Another tweet would drop, with King Von telling people, "Don't worry about who killed who, just be glad that you didn't get killed and shut up." This was followed by another tweet aimed at Boss Trell, saying "lol, you ain't a boss to me." Many theories suggested that T-Roy and Von, and possibly others, were involved in this murder. Some have said that it was T-Roy, others have said that it's Von, or potentially even the two of them together. But it is worth mentioning that there's an alternative theory that Boss Trell was actually murdered by someone completely unrelated to this feud, who was apparently trying to retrieve a gun that had been taken from him. But regardless of who was responsible, Von and T-Roy were certainly happy to see Boss Trell gone, and they would continue to tweet boldly about it publicly. Their ops on Twitter would warn T-Roy over the disrespect, but for King Von, tweeting about the murders going on in the streets was a must. Von would post saying that the ops are dying frequently and that he doesn't plan on slowing down. He would say that he will kill an op anywhere, and once again reference cereal, saying that he eats cereal after shooting people, another hint in the ongoing joke that Von is indeed becoming a serial killer. Von would even mock the ops for having funerals. He simply didn't care what anybody thought. It seemed that Von was hell-bent on killing his enemies, and he would be hell-bent on tweeting every single time something negative occurred in the streets. However, Von's days would be numbered, and following the next hit that he was implicated in, he would tweet once again, perhaps a little too recklessly this time, finding himself behind bars for over a year. After the deaths of Modell, P5 and Boss Trell, you would think that King Von would have kept a low profile, but no, he would continue to tweet suspiciously while the killing continued. However, when the next person lost their life, King Von's tweets would go to a whole nother level of self-incrimination. He would actually find himself on the wrong side of the law. On the 19th of November 2012, 32-year-old man named James Holman, aka Lil James, would be standing on his porch on the 6000 block of South Michigan Avenue around 8:20 PM. At this point, 4 people would approach his property, opening fire, shooting him in both the arm and chest, with him being pronounced dead in hospital less than an hour later. Only 23 minutes after this murder, Von would tweet, "Man, not on anything," followed by another tweet reading, "clown ass." Von was mocking somebody, but we didn't know who or what for. Meanwhile, T-Roy would put out a tweet asking if somebody got shot yesterday. And then, only 6 hours after the shooting, Von would tweet that he kills GDs often. And then, in another rare deleted tweet that somebody else from O-Block quote tweeted just 21 minutes later, Von would apparently brag that he has killed 5 GDs and shot 10. With a later news article even confirming that James Holman, the man who was killed most recently, was indeed a gangster disciple. Furthermore, a police report on the Lil James murder would describe the shooter's height and build, which apparently matched Von's description. Now, Von tweeting that he had killed 5 GDs after the death of Lil James is particularly interesting, because there's always been a lot of speculation on exactly how many people Von had killed and who specifically he was responsible for killing. And at this point in time, Von had been associated with 6 murders in total. So, if Von himself is apparently confessing that he has killed 5 people at this point, then it's likely that just one of these murders he had nothing to do with. From here, Von would continue to tweet throughout the day, saying things like, "Dissing him will get your people killed," and another asking openly, "Who made Crack Block?" Another reference to the murder of Crack, or P5. Unsurprisingly, the authorities would catch up with Von just 3 days after the murder of Lil James. Perhaps they'd read his tweets. Von's capture would be confirmed by a tweet from his sister from his own Twitter account saying that he would be in jail for Thanksgiving, with Von's charges later being revealed as unlawful possession of a firearm. Numerous mugshots of Von would later circulate online, and Von would end up in jail for over a year, for a period spanning from November 2012 to February 2014. And in the meantime, his mother, sister, and friends would all tweet from his Twitter account calling for Von's freedom and keeping his name alive. However, Von's sister would also tweet that Von told her that when he gets out of jail, he's just planning on killing more people. And ultimately, none of the more serious charges would even stick to Von, and he would eventually end up being released back onto the streets of O'Block, where he would, as expected, immediately get back to doing what he loved, drilling, and then tweeting about it.
Right now, you can get 100 hit loops for only $1. That's right. This is the craziest deal.
About it, and the police can't do nothing about it. They have done nothing, said nothing.
King Von's sister would announce from his Twitter account on February the 11th, 2014, that he would be home from jail tomorrow, with footage of Von cutting off his ankle monitor and throwing up gang signs circulating online after his release. When he got back out, he would be back on the streets and involving himself in gang politics once again. His first tweet out was dissing the ops, of course. He would also openly wonder where T-Roy went, as apparently his partner in crime had ended up in jail himself during this time. Also upon his release, Von would also tweet at famous names in the Chicago drill scene like Boss Top, Lil Reese, Chief Keef, E-Day, Rondo No. 9, and Capo. He would then go on to diss two people that he allegedly killed, Modell and Crack, but at least initially, it didn't appear that Von was able to commit any more acts of violence, because apparently, following his release, he would wind up on house arrest for a short period. But that didn't stop him from posting pictures of himself at home, dissing Tuka with a gun sticking out of his pocket. Pictures of Von with famous BD hitters like T-Roy and D-Rose would circulate around this time, with the likes of Chief Keef even reposting them as a sign of respect for the most feared local shooters, with Von also sharing pictures of his crew to Twitter openly, with the caption simply reading, gang members. Von would also tweet about it being a very scary year for the ops, even tweeting disrespectful collages featuring photographs of rivals who had been killed recently. Von didn't care one bit what he was posting on Twitter, and honestly, it didn't seem like the police cared either. Von tweeted openly that he will kill someone on St. Lawrence, promising to shoot ops in the face and kill them fast, dropping mocking tweets about people he had allegedly killed like Modell. He would pledge to drop even more bodies, even tweeting that he was shooting as soon as he got off house arrest, and tweeting that he just got a new gun and he wanted to do a drive-by with it. Now, on March the 25th, 2014, GD rapper Lil Mark, associated with a crew called 051, would drop a song called No Competition. This would be a remix of Black Disciple rappers Lil Durk and Lil Reese's 2013 song Competition. Lil Mark would essentially use Lil Durk's beat to diss him and his OTF crew from Lamron. But it wasn't just Durk that was getting dissed. Lil Mark would diss numerous people associated with the Black Disciples, including people from both O-Block and an affiliated crew of BDs known as 600. Lil Mark's song would mock OD Perry and J Money, and see him rapping openly that he is a Black Disciple killer, as well as proudly repping his affiliations to his gang set 051 Young Money. This song made Lil Mark a huge target for both O-Block and 600. And around this period, King Von would frequently tweet that he was in traffic, riding around the city, armed and looking for ops to kill. On March the 28th, 2014, Von would tweet that he was in traffic, tagging D-Rose, an infamous shooter from the O-Block affiliated set 600, with D-Rose himself tweeting that the cops hate to see Von, T-Roy, and him all together. Von would tweet gunshot emojis around 10 AM on the 28th of March 2014. And only a few hours later, that very same day, around 1:30 PM, it's believed that a large group of gang members were riding around in a silver minivan with Florida license plates, most likely a stolen car. Meanwhile, a 20-year-old Mark Campbell, aka Lil Mark, was at a bus stop on the 300 block of East 51st Street. It's believed that that minivan pulled up and a masked man jumped out, shooting Lil Mark in the head, with Mark ultimately being pronounced dead at the scene only minutes later at 1:41 PM, and that minivan connected to the shooting being found in flames at 6:30 PM that very night. It's widely believed that D-Rose was the shooter, with King Von being present for this murder. D-Rose even posted a clip to social media of him and his friends returning to the scene of the crime and filming, where King Von can allegedly be heard in the background of the car.
Hey, it's a 251st! Damn, body down. Oh, not those things coming up, bro. Hold on. Tweaking, bro. Body down, 51st gang.
D-Rose would tweet, "Call 'em, never heard of 'em," with a laughing face just 36 minutes after the killing. King Von would tweet, just 42 minutes after the shooting, "Die why?" with a bunch of laughing faces, with this being a sign of disrespect to Lil Mark's gang 051 Young Money. That tweet was then followed by Von saying 051 better keep their head up, with a bunch of laughing emojis. Then he says he lives for this, F the ops. And just in case there was any doubt about King Von being present for that murder, he would also reply to somebody on Twitter discussing Lil Mark, saying outright he just saw the murder, with King Von going on to tweet at other O-Block affiliates that they would be celebrating that night. Von was speaking so recklessly on Twitter, his sister would even tell him to go in the house, with the defiant Von replying to her with gunshot and demon emojis, then tweeting that Lil Mark's death was getting him attention from women. even going as far to say that Lil Mark's pregnant girlfriend might have cheated on him. Followed by another tweet a few days later where Von claimed that he leaves people dead at the bus stop just like Tuka. A tweet that's even more disrespectful when you learn that Lil Mark was actually Tuka's older brother. D Rose would also tweet the day after the murder saying you ain't gotta ask who shot him, indicating that he was indeed the shooter of Lil Mark, as well as proudly saying that he was smoking on Marco. But Von and D Rose weren't the only ones celebrating the death of Lil Mark, because Lil Durk, the original subject of Lil Mark's diss song No Competition, released just 3 days before he was killed, would end up making a trip to the very bus stop where Mark was gunned down, with Durk telling his followers that this was a very special place.
Hey, this bus stop right here though, this is a real famous place, you hear me? This is a real famous place, B. Hey, this bus stop, this is a real famous place, B. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Because of all of the attention from rappers about this incident, Lil Mark's death became news beyond the local Chicago papers, with this killing taking place during the heyday of DJ Akademiks' War in Chiraq series, where Akademiks would report satirically on the Chicago drill scene and the shocking crimes going on within it. King Von himself would even go on to rap about killing people at bus stops many years later, as well as on the song Exposing Me, where he says that he is smoking Lil Mark and Tuka. And Lil Durk would go on to do the same thing, rapping in the December 2014 track War with E-Day 600, also saying that he is smoking Lil Mark and Tuka. Now, it's never been definitively confirmed who killed Lil Mark, but it's widely believed that the two most likely hitters are D Rose or King Von. But whether or not King Von actually did it, he clearly got a lot of gratification from just witnessing this murder, further fueling this strange bloodlust that he was cultivating around this time. If he wasn't the one killing, then he would at least want a front row seat and an opportunity to tweet about it. However, it would be the next murder that would seemingly be Von's most proud moment in the streets, because he would end up finally catching somebody who he had wanted to get for years, leaving clues on Twitter all the way up to the killing. And then, in an insanely twisted turn, not only would Von get away with the murder, but he would go on to appear in a documentary interview about the victim without anybody even working out that the killer that they were looking for was sitting right in front of the camera.
I'm really happy where we are right now, technology-wise.
Talk to me.
17-year-old gangster disciple Jakira Barnes, aka K.I., was a legendary figure in Chicago gang history, with the Chicago Sun-Times describing her in a prominent feature as a prolific female assassin in the Chicago gang war. K.I. has been described as the real-life Snoop from The Wire, a reference to the masculine female killer from HBO's crime drama. K.I. herself had been close with Tuka growing up, and her rumoured involvement in the killing of O.D. Perry in retaliation would make her feud with O-Block deeply personal. No doubt King Von was obsessed with K.I. Von and K.I. would have extensive back and forths on Twitter, with it being unclear whether he was trying to date her or kill her. Their first interaction occurred on September the 25th, 2012, when Von would tweet claiming to have beaten up an op girl on the train, with K.I. replying to this saying their arm, ear and face were injured, but she's not bothered because her gun will put a hole in her ops faces, with the tweet the following day indicating that she had perhaps shot at Von or somebody that he knows. They would go on to have a back and forth, with Von asking K.I. if she's a gangster or a bitch, with K.I. indicating that she is indeed a real gangster. Von would go on to reply to her posts shouting out her gang, asking her why he never sees her when he spins the block, with K.I. replying that Von can die just like White White, with Von saying she better kill him because he will kill her and she doesn't have the good aim like he does. That same day, K.I. would tell her followers to retweet if they think she looks good. King Von retweeted it. K.I. would tweet saying that she'd beaten up someone from O-Block and that they should go and tell Von that she is tough. This would prompt a reply from Von, where he would say he can tell that she's tough, and jokingly asking her if she's looking for a boyfriend, as well as expressing doubt that she had even beat up his friend, with her replying saying she'd caught an O-Block member on the train who had denied being from there when beaten up, with King Von's sister chiming in claiming to have been there too, and K.I. saying that her victim didn't even punch her back. All this provoked a sarcastic reply from Von, where he said that he thinks he was falling in love with this fighting female. Von would later post tweets where he said that he's going to treat her right if she becomes his wifey, and later beginning to regularly refer to her as wifey. When K.I. replied to Von, Von would say that he has her on his mind a lot and that he misses her, even telling his sister that he wanted to marry K.I. Now, many years later, somebody on 4chan would claim to have hacked K.I.'s private DMs on Twitter, and revealing that around this time, Von had DM'd K.I. asking her if she wanted to hook up, or more specifically saying he wants to nail her. She would reply saying she's not interested, to which Von replies, when all of this is over, he will have her. More alleged tweets would see K.I. asking Von straight up if O-Block are plotting to kill her, to which Von replies, he's not gonna lie, there are people looking to kill her. But Von would say he doesn't think he can kill her because he thinks she seems cool as hell, even having the nerve to ask her when she's going to stop gangbanging. Ki would reply saying she's not going to stop, calling King Von a goofy and asking him when he's going to stop. Von would laugh and tell her that he's gangbanging until he dies, and that he will never lose or quit, with Ki ultimately agreeing with this and saying that she's planning the same thing, before mocking Von, saying he must feel really threatened by her, and questioning if he really thinks they can kill her. Von replies saying that they're trying to kill anyone, they're not just desperate for her specifically, before revealing that he had apparently had his gun on him when he beat her up on the train, but saying he didn't kill her because the police were there along with a woman from his block, with Von saying that if he really wanted to kill her, he would have took his chances and shot her in the train or the street. In response to this, Ki would reply, "Come and get it," because she's ready to go to war with anyone, with Von clapping back, questioning why she takes things so seriously. After this alleged private exchange, Von would reply to a public tweet of hers dissing O.D. Perry, and reminding her that he beat her up, even saying that he wishes he'd spat on her afterwards. Now, Von began to use Ki pretty much for entertainment, beefing her on Twitter whenever he was bored, but Ki would be looking for Von in real life, however. Von would tweet that he has his ops scared at the corner store, and Ki would reply saying that she's on the way looking for him. Also tweeting asking where he is, with Von replying sarcastically telling her to be safe in the streets. More alleged leaked DMs between Ki and Von would emerge, with Ki asking Von where he was, with the two of them seemingly arranging a shootout, with Ki even asking if T-Roy can come too. Ki later claimed to have walked through O-Block and not seen a soul, with Von saying that they're too busy to have a shootout right now. Von would later allegedly DM Ki, telling her to call him when she's ready to put a dress on and let her hair down. They'd keep going back and forth on Twitter publicly, building up this insane public history. Ki tweeted that she was going to the store, and Von would warn her not to. Von would tweet reminding her that he had beaten her up on the train, with her saying that he's been hiding ever since. Von would clap back, asking when she's coming back to his block for a date, and Ki would then remind Von of all the times that people from her side had beaten him up. Other O-Block members would tweet their intentions to kill Ki too, and she would tweet that she wants to see King Von face to face, and Von would reply, she really doesn't. One tweet would see Von say that he'd spent all day trying to get Ki on the phone, and that her voice sounded sexy. Even after Von went to jail in 2013, Von's sister would tweet at Ki, saying that Von had asked her to go and visit him in jail, with Von's sister later suggesting that she had even had a fistfight with Ki, and saying that she will see her on 63rd, perhaps for another fight. When Von was released from jail in 2014, he would tweet at Ki and ask if she missed him, with her replying, asking when they're meeting up, and adding 4 gun emojis, with Von expressing disappointment that Ki didn't come and see him in jail like he'd asked. Now, bear in mind, tweeting at Ki was one of the first things that Von did upon getting out of jail. He tweeted her twice before he had tweeted at Chief Keef or any of his actual friends from O-Block. He was obsessed, but Ki would continue to mock Von, asking him how it felt for his friends to die while he was in jail, even retweeting Von's own tweet saying rest in peace J Money, and going on to insult him in a tweet of her own. This was a reference to Von's friend J Money from O-Block, who had been killed in September 2013 whilst he was in jail, with Von retaliating, saying rest in piss to Crack and Modell, with Von even later tweeting that he can't be mad at women unless they're ops, in which case they can die, and another tweet saying how desperate he was to catch a female op. Von and Ki would tweet at each other much less in 2014, perhaps because Von was looking to reduce the paper trail leading to him if Ki wound up dead. But in the days following Little Mark's death in April 2014, Von would release some brazen tweets. On the 1st of April, he would tell a friend that he would never start rapping and that he prefers killing ops, and tweeting that he had bodies on his gun. On the 6th of April, Ki would tweet saying, "People won't get the picture until you put them in the frame," along with a gun emoji. That same day, Von would tweet, saying if you're not where I'm from, you will get killed. That was followed the next day by Von tweeting that he was always looking for a woman and he can't find her, and saying he will stop looking and let her look for him. He would then go on to tweet on the 10th of April that there's some women he would do anything for, telling her to just hit his line. That would be followed by another tweet saying if a girl leaves him, then she's leaving the best, with it unclear if he's talking about her leaving him or her leaving this earth. That was followed by more tweets where Von would say if a girl is with the ops, then she's getting shot, and that he's not playing with op girls this summer and they should watch out. In the early hours of the next morning, Ki would make the ominous tweet, "In the end, we die," as well as tweeting her apparent location just off 63rd. And later that afternoon, Ki would be standing on a nearby porch in the 6400 block of South Eberhart Avenue, only a 3-minute walk towards O-Block from the location that she had tweeted she was at earlier that day. And that was the day that King Von would allegedly find that woman that he had been looking for all this time, as K.I. would indeed be gunned down on April the 11th, 2014. The murder report on K.I.'s death would feature a witness describing the shooter who hopped out of a car, catching K.I. and another man who were about to shoot dice. They would run into a gangway, but the shooter kept firing, apparently even shouting, "Yeah, bitch ass N-words," as he fired the handgun at K.I. multiple times. She would be shot 9 times and declared dead just 2 hours later.
For Chantel Brown, the statistics are more than just numbers. Within 12 short hours across Chicago, 14 people were wounded, 2 people killed, one of them being Brown's oldest child.
I'm just going to miss her presence. She was a very, very beautiful, well-known, lovely girl.
17-year-old Jakira Barnes loved basketball, her friends, and being with family. It's still under investigation what exactly happened Friday afternoon in the 6400 block of South Eberhard, but neighbors say Barnes and a friend were walking along the sidewalk when a gunman started firing.
When the bullet hit, it was so powerful, she fell on the step.
Residents who do not want to be identified say Barnes fought to live, but had been shot at least 9 times.
In the jaw, in the neck, and in the chest, and in the leg. 9 times, they said.
Barnes was transported to Northwestern where she died, and tragically for this neighborhood, it wasn't the first child lost to gunfire.
And Von would go on to tweet just hours after K.I. was pronounced dead, saying that he loves his gang and they love him, before tweeting, "Mad that nobody misses him." And this was followed by people confirming that K.I. had been killed. O-Block veteran Jay Hood would reveal in a Cam Capone interview many years later that Von came back to O-Block and told him what he'd done immediately after the murder.
But he literally say just like this, I'm looking straight, he meant why I just run up on K.I. and why I just ran up on them and caught K.I. She was the last one running out of the gate. I was like, no way.
The day after the hit, Black Disciple rapper Lil Reese would tweet Von's catchphrase saying that he does his thing, seemingly a congratulatory post to Von, who replied saying, "You gots to."
Over the past 6 months, we have been investigating as well as exposing the truth behind all of these food processing plants that have been...
Von would later tweet that he needs a real bitch, and over the next few days, he would once again deliver a flurry of activity on Twitter, tweeting that his ops don't scare him, and that the whole gang war is funny to him. He would say that he's lost a lot of friends, so his enemies must die in retaliation. Von would also tweet saying that people wouldn't believe the things that he does in the streets, and saying that he will never tell. Von would even copy K.I.'s earlier tweet from the week before her murder about people not getting the picture until you put them in the frame, as well as tweeting at her, saying he misses his old girl. Von was clearly in a celebratory mood following the murder of K.I., and he would go on to make post after post referencing the ongoing gang war, posting tributes to T. Roy, telling his incarcerated friend that he was going crazy on the streets while he was locked up. Von was seemingly proud of himself for all he was achieving in the streets at this point. He would seemingly update his body count to 6, openly tweeting "homicide in the air" and that he made 6 people extinct for playing hard. Von would even post his own mugshot saying they should have never freed him because he's a menace. He tweeted that he put people's brains in their lap and asked his followers if they would still be there for him when he gets 100 years in jail. Von would suggest that he is only competing in kill counts with T-Roy, suggesting that those two were the most deadly people in the streets at this time, and he would claim to wake up in the morning thinking of nothing but killing people. Other rappers and well-known figures around Chicago drill would continue to tweet congratulating King Von after this murder, people like Lil Reese and Boss Top, and Von would also tweet on April the 28th that there's only 2 places for a man like him, presumably jail or hell. Clearly, he must have had an inkling, as he would end up being picked up in connection to the murder the following day, on the 29th of April. But Von would never be formally charged with K.I.'s murder. He would deny even knowing her and would initially offer to do a polygraph test, as well as providing a loose alibi, relying on a woman claiming that she had been with him the entire day of the murder. Combine that with the fact that Von had apparently checked in with his parole officer just an hour before the murder worked in his favour, despite the crime scene being only 35 minutes from the parole office, meaning that Von had over 25 minutes spare to get there and kill K.I. immediately after signing in with his PO. As a result of these slick maneuvers, Von would indeed be released the next day and face no further consequences in this situation. And he would tweet that he beat that case like Rocky and that he was in a good mood, showing love to everyone but the ops. That was followed by him tweeting laughing faces and saying that he was grateful to be free and that he's too real. A few days later, Von would be tweeting that he beats bodies and that he doesn't plan on going to prison, as well as seemingly referencing K.I.'s resemblance to Snoop from The Wire and calling her a dead op. Years later, Von would even go on to brag about killing K.I. on songs after he started rapping, famously saying on the track War With Us that he put a pretty op bitch in the morgue, you can call her drop dead gorgeous, as well as saying that he keeps a strap like K.I. on the song GTA. For years following this murder, people, including myself, speculated on whether King Von had killed K.I., or whether it was the work of fellow O-Block hitter Big A, who reportedly went by the nickname ASCII, or Ask K.I., after her death, suggesting that he had something to do with her killing. But in lyrics to King Von's leaked song Wait, he seemingly rapped about the day that he caught K.I., with lyrics a lot of people believe would allude to Von jumping out of the car and chasing K.I. down the alley, with Big A being the driver. Von would also rap on the song Cousins that he kills women and men and can't tell the difference. But it wasn't just Von. Lil Durk would also rap in December of 2014, the year that K.I. was killed, on the song War with E-Day, seemingly suggesting that he had owned a gun that was used in K.I.'s murder. Now, rapping about someone that you killed is one thing, but King Von actually went on to do one of the most psychopathic things I have ever seen. Because on May the 23rd, 2019, a documentary about K.I. would air on A&E titled Secret Life of a Gang Girl. This piece goes in depth into the life of K.I., exploring her motivations to become a gang member despite being a petite young woman, as well as interviewing some of the people that knew her during this time. And that documentary about K.I. would interview none other than King Von, who was featured prominently in the documentary, and if you ask me, he was just straight up trolling the TV crew, who clearly hadn't done their homework. Von would appear in the show, portraying himself as having been an infatuated admirer pursuing K.I. for nothing but romantic reasons. And the fact that the film crew didn't even have an inkling that Von was responsible is just crazy to me. And it's not like the info that he killed K.I. wasn't already circulating out there at this point, because while Von is in jail for his next murder in 2016, word of his story as a shooter in the Chicago gang war would spread on the edgy message board 4chan, where a gang-obsessed 4chan member would claim to have accessed K.I.'s private DMs, exposing those private messages which we already saw between King Von and K.I. all the way back in 2012. With this deranged 4chan user even replying to friends of K.I. from her account who had continued to DM her after her death looking for closure, with that 4chan hacker.
This is why I'm saying the police are terrible at their job. He said he didn't even know K.I. Told them he didn't even know her. He didn't even know her. Get all these DMs. Clearly he knew her. Come on, fams. You got the garbage.
Writing a lengthy post claiming to have been told by a friend of K.I.'s in the DMs that they believed King Von was her killer. Bear in mind, this information was floating around all the way back in 2016, 2 years after the murder and 3 years before the documentary. However, eventually, a whole year after Von's death, in 2021, the Chicago police would release documents revealing that they believed King Von himself to be K.I.'s killer, with apparently multiple witnesses pinning Von as the shooter, but unfortunately the state decided not to prosecute, stating that the case simply wouldn't meet the burden of proof to secure a conviction. So, King Von would be released back on the streets after having allegedly killed the girl he had seemingly spent years hunting down. But only a month and a half later, Von would go on to catch yet another murder, which would finally land him in jail, and just briefly putting a stop to his serialized killings.
Smooth sailing to the top now!
How many murders is this? Like they said he killed 7. This has to be around like 10 now.
After being questioned about the K.I. murder and being released with no consequences, King Von felt invincible. The month is May 2014, and Von had seemingly killed a total of 6 people at this point. As usual, he'd be on Twitter non-stop, hinting at his actions in the streets, asking God for forgiveness for killing his ops, and saying that he shoots first and asks questions later. He would tweet that he's in a different league when it comes to killing, and others need to catch up, and telling the world that he's always armed and ready for his ops. Clearly Von was active in the streets, as well as on Twitter, claiming to be driving through his ops area literally as he was tweeting, and saying that he has an itchy trigger finger. Von would claim that anybody can get smoked for the right price or cause, warning his ops not to come near him or he will shoot. Von would claim to never be putting his gun down because too many people have died in the gang war, taunting his ops, saying he knows that they want him, but it's not his time to die. Von would even repost a viral clip from Worldstar titled When Keeping It Real Goes Wrong, a video apparently showing a group of people filming themselves going to Chief Keef's neighborhood and getting shot at. A clip that people would later claim was actually King Von doing the shooting. I mean, just imagine having the balls to shoot at people and then retweet the Worldstar video of you shooting at them. The same day as this, Von would claim that he's buying guns with 100-round magazines and wondering who he's going to shoot, as well as saying that he'd been gangbanging all day and now he's tired out. The following day, Von would tweet saying that others wouldn't do half of the stuff that he's done and plans to do in the streets, and Von would say that he plans to keep scoring until he wins. Only 2 days after that, Von would find himself attempting to score again. On the 29th of May 2014, an afternoon party would be going on at 5722 South LaSalle Street. Von would attend this party where he spotted 2 members from the rival gang. At this point, the mother of the person whose birthday party it was apparently told Von not to start trouble in her house, with Von saying that he wouldn't and leaving. Von would leave the party and go and get a friend, Big Mike, apparently telling another person who was still at the party on the phone that he was coming back and that they should take the children inside. Von and Big Mike would return to that party, parking down the street and approaching a group of 3 men outside the house, opening fire. 3 of those men would be hit by gunshots, whilst Von chased them, allegedly yelling, "Why are you running?" And when the shooting stopped, a 19-year-old man by the name of Malcolm Stuckey would be declared dead with a gunshot wound to the head. The Chicago police would respond to the shooting at 6:10 p.m, arriving on the scene where police were pictured securing the location around Malcolm's body. Apparently Von was really trying to kill 2 rival gang members that he saw at the party, ultimately hitting 3 people but only killing Malcolm, who allegedly wasn't the intended target or even involved in the gang war. Perhaps this is why we never hear King Von in his career disrespecting or saying that he's smoking Malcolm like he did to many of the other people that he was rumoured to have killed. But there would still be hints at his involvement, because while Malcolm had been laying in the street with a bullet in his head for several hours, only 12 minutes before he'd officially be pronounced dead, Von would tweet saying that he has some issues but he cannot tell a soul about them. Meanwhile, Boss Top from O-Block would tweet that Von is the guy who sits people down if they run up. Now, it would take nearly 2 months for the authorities to connect Von to this murder, and during this time, he would continue to be prolific posting on Twitter. He would tweet that he was on the block with his gun in the early hours of the morning, just the day after the murder of Malcolm, and tweeting that all of the things that people are hearing about are him. He's the one responsible. He would tweet saying that he's killed so many ops that he doesn't have any more feelings. He'd also tweet that it's all fun and games until somebody you know is no longer breathing. And he would tweet saying that he did all of this on parole and just wait until he gets off, with a demon emoji. And in another deleted tweet that was apparently reposted by somebody else, Von openly tweeted saying that he wanted to go on an all-out killing spree. However, King Von's crime spree would ultimately be cut short on prom night of all nights. Von would be pictured holding a gun at O-Block in his suit in the hours before prom, and he would even tweet warning people not to try him while he's dressed in his suit. Von would then end up doing a shooting in his prom suit with witnesses describing his outfit, ultimately leading to his arrest. Von's last tweet would be on June 7th, 2014, the ominous statement, "Loose screws get nailed." He would end up being arrested on firearms charges on prom night, and then the following month, on the 22nd of July 2014, Von's accomplice in the murder of Malcolm Stuckey, Big Mike, ended up getting charged with murder and being taken in for questioning by the police. Then, 2 days later, on July 24th, 2014, King Von, already in jail, would be charged with 1 count of first-degree murder for the killing of Malcolm Stuckey and 2 counts of attempted murder for the other 2 people shot in that incident. Von's arrest for this crime would attract significant media coverage, and he would remain in jail awaiting trial from June 2014 to December 2017. And during that time, his people would tweet from his Twitter account saying that they missed him, asking for visitors to come see him on his birthday, and posting clips and pictures of him in jail during his visits.
Let's go.
What's up, you miss me, man?
Yes!
You lying.
No, I'm not.
You got the money from Mo?
No, it's still a whole call.
Here's how to get pro vocal mixes in just a few clicks.
Babe, you're the one I want. Don't let me do it.
Ugly.
But while Von was in jail, he would raise hell, apparently helping to start a huge fire on the wing in April 2017. He would constantly get into fights with his ops, apparently never turning down confrontations.
That's why I can say Von had over 20 fights in that. He was. He talk about jail. He talk about that shit like it's a rite of passage. Like every was a street like him, he was like jail was coming. Yeah, that's why he was always in that, because he never cared about jail. That's how he was able to be the type of he was in the streets, because some of these savages, like, and you supposed to do shit with that in the back of your mind, like knowing, like, man, go south, go to jail. Well, shorty sliding up on like the police don't even exist. He just smoke you broad day.
Von would remain in jail for an extended period of time, around 3.5 years in total, and during his time in jail, he picked up the nickname Grandson, apparently for his resemblance in image as well as temperament to the Black Disciples founder David Barksdale, also known as King David. It's obvious that King Von took a lot of inspiration from the original founder of the gang that he repped, the Black Disciples. Not only going by the name King Von, but also frequently saying David Barksdale's nickname, often ending sentences by saying, "On King David."
On King David.
Also, while Von was in jail awaiting trial, the conflicts in the streets would continue to play out, and Von would eventually get the worst news imaginable. His right-hand man, T. Roy, would be shot and killed in a convenience store on Valentine's Day 2017. Von's people would post Twitter tributes memorializing his friend and favorite shooter, and Von would later open up about the very moment that he got the news about T. Roy's death while he was in jail.
Yeah, R.I.P. T. Roy, man, that was my best friend. I got that nigga on my neck. That's how strong that shit. I got him gang banging on my neck. That's how we was gang banging up.
With Von saying that he completely broke down crying when he found out that his right-hand man T. Roy was gone.
This is my dog. Before they kill my dog, I was locked up. Killed me, I broke down. I ain't cried so long. But every day, this my you know, I'm in jail. I'm fighting the murder and shit. I call this every day. This my right-hand man. So I'm telling him like, all right, now since he go, we can tell him he getting that. Man, I'm gonna get you out, Von. I'm gonna get you out, man. Whatever I gotta do, I'm gonna get you out. I swear to God. You know, but we in the streets, you know how that shit go. So he trying to hustle, he trying to rob, all type. He doing whatever he can do. I'm gonna get you a lawyer, bro. I got you, you know. He be telling me, give me a shot. I be calling, man. Don't even worry about it, man. Just look, just you make sure you know. I mean, I'm gonna figure this shit out. Just be cool out there. I call folks. It's like. It's on like Valentine's Day, you see what I'm saying? I call my mama back. Now she crying and shit. Mama, what the f you crying for? You good? You know what I'm saying? She, ooh, they shot T-Roy. T-Roy got, oh, what? Ooh, what? Oh, look at the phone. You know how that go, you in jail, you can tell, hold on, what? Now we calling around, what's going on? He got hit once, some shit, ooh. Oh, damn. What the f going on out there? I'm T-Roy, got shot. Look, this is the thing, y'all don't know T-Roy. Y'all gotta leave our history of T-Roy, y'all don't know. T-Roy got to go further. That's T-Roy, that's T-Roy. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Y'all don't know T-Roy like I know T-Roy, you know what I'm saying? So when I hear he gets shot on, he don't want to talk to me like, don't be lacking, don't be, you know? He was on me, he used to be on each other, you know what I'm saying? Because me and him, we back to back. That's my boy, you know what I'm saying? Folks got shot, I said, hold on. I said, the streets, hold on. Who got shot? Who? Nah, he a gangster. He got shot before. He a gangster. I said, folks ain't make it, I'm pulling them out. I play it out, you know me, you gotta play it out. You in jail, that's all type of goof ass around, you know, these 13. All of your business on King David, I walk it off. I'm just walking around in circles on the deck, you know. And they put their arm around me. When I'm like, damn, you good, bro? You good? What's wrong with you, Von? Yeah, I'm good. Ooh, what's wrong? You got a phone, man? I'm good, you know. They what happened? I mean, they just killed T-Roy. Ooh, he what? I'm T-Roy. They just killed T-Roy. Oh, I got that breaking down on King David. I couldn't help it. They hugging me. These some real. You know what I'm saying? We grown ass men. Folks grab me to hold me. Get to there, you gonna be alright, shorty. You gonna be alright. Oh, hold on, boy. That's my best friend, boy. Somebody just killed my best friend while I'm in jail. I'm in that gonna go crazy. Oh, I'm in that don't know what's going on. I'm in that in that. Who the y'all? I'm in that mad on. Oh yeah, I'm in that in that. Nah, not my best friend. You know what I'm saying? I'm in that in that. If he get got, there ain't a lot of hope for a lot of. Cause he be, y'all know how folks see his man, T-Roy, T-Roy, let me see who, The guys just looking like, ooh, this preaching on, don't trip, you know. Y'all know this that street, the street watching me like that, about the I know, yeah, this the street I better pay attention, I ain't gonna keep doing it. This don't supposed to be for free.
Von would take T-Roy's death very seriously. Even after becoming a famous rapper, he would threaten to kill trolls who would DM him mocking T-Roy on his birthday.
Fuck how you feel? You a shorty on, I'll kill you. Yo, as a little boy, I'll choke you out my motherfucking hands and beat the shit out you. Internet shit fool you, boy. I'll drop my motherfucking location on you, will pull up, I'll kill you for real, man. Yo ass HFE Larry, yo ass a goofy, man. Yo ass is a bitch, boy. Stop fucking playing me. Go play with somebody else, bro. I'll fuck you up for real. I don't even play like that, gang. For real.
Despite spending 3.5 years in jail, eventually Von would finally face trial for the murder of Malcolm Stuckey. Von's family tweeted from his Twitter account in November 2017 that they had been attending his trial at court. And despite what was originally thought to be a clear-cut case, Von's co-defendant would end up implicating himself and Von in the crime in an attempt to secure a deal with prosecutors, but ultimately backing out of that deal at the last minute, leaving prosecutors scrambling for any evidence that would actually implicate Von in the murder. Allegedly, eyewitnesses who saw Von that night failed to testify, and King Von would even later rap about the situation on the track What's Next, saying that they killed the only witness and that Big Mike was the only one who spoke. This turn of events would see King Von being acquitted of all charges due to lack of evidence, and Big Mike himself going down for 16 years, plus an extra 12 for backing out of a deal with prosecutors, so a total of 28 years. After this, King Von would be a free man once again, beating a body and returning to the streets of Chicago with his freedom and a clean slate. The family of Malcolm Stuckey would later admonish Von on social media for getting away with this gruesome murder and going on to become a rapper. But, as we'll soon learn, Von had zero shame about the things that he did and going on to become...
So this guy, basically so Stuckey's family wrote down, so this guy killed my brother and became a rapper. Okay, clown. I'll never listen to that Dirk song. I did never listen to that. This man is so proud to say he stole my whole day. That's sad. Chicago police don't even know how to do their job the right way. Listen, I don't know what circumstances they have in doing what they're doing. I get it. There's a lot of murders, but focus on completing them. Just
a rapper. But, as we'll soon learn, Von had zero shame about the things that he had done in the streets. In fact, he would wear the badge of a killer who beat a body with pride. And after killing an alleged 7 people in total, when Von got out of jail, it would be time for a new beginning, as the newly free King Von would take all of his stories from being a killer on the streets of Chicago and put them into songs, becoming a Chicago drill rapper with so much credibility as a gangster, his music simply could not be ignored. And soon, all over Chicago and around the world, Von's name would be ringing, as people would begin to discover what appeared to be the realest gangster rapper who ever lived.
Ended up dying the most.
After being acquitted of all charges in the murder of Malcolm Stuckey, King Von would walk out of jail a free man once again around the 6th of December 2017, being seen walking fresh out of the gates on social media.
Oh, Vito, what's up? What's up? Putting out these last pins. Big Ron out. How y'all coming?
Von would also return to Twitter as well as the streets, telling 16 Shot and Visuals that his friend E-Dog from O-Block picked him up and the first thing they did was go and buy a gun.
I want a block. Who can give me E-Dog? I want a block. And got a gun so they gonna kill him.
At the time of his release, Von wasn't yet a rapper. It's unclear if Von ever really had aspirations of transitioning from shooter to rapper. On the one hand, there's old tweets where he perhaps jokingly said that him and T-Roy had planned to release music, but nothing ever materialized. On the other hand, he had also tweeted that if he ever starts rapping, you should kill the person closest to you, because something ain't right. So it's safe to say that at least initially, Von's plans were not music. At least not for himself, because one person who hadn't forgotten Von during his long 3.5 years in jail was his childhood friend and Chicago rap superstar Lil Durk, who had tweeted his support for Von whilst he was still in jail fighting his charges, and apparently calling him regularly, even providing money for a lawyer. Durk would welcome Von home from jail with open arms, with Von actually revealing later that his friendship with Durk had initially had an ulterior motive, and that at first he was just planning to hang around Durk and rob people that he knew just to get himself to $100,000.
I wasn't no rapper, so it wasn't none of that rapping shit. I'm thinking like, I just need to get 100,000. I'm gonna be decent. I'm gonna rob this, and I'm trying to rob this other. And this is what I was thinking in jail when I was You know, before I got the day, talk to your
Oh,
homie.
wow. Oh,
I say,
wow.
they say, what you gonna do? I say, I'm gonna go around dirt, and I'm just gonna catch me a motherfucker. I'm gonna go around dirt, and I'm gonna catch me like 2-3 you see what I'm saying? And dirt, I ain't gonna let him know because he gonna try to stop me.
After coming home from jail, music was the last thing on King Von's mind. He just wanted to get money and flex his newfound freedom. He would be seen fresh home, posing in new outfits on Instagram, with pictures celebrating his freedom, attracting threats from his enemies like FBG Cash. But it seemed that Von's friends would be looking out for him, and no one was looking out for Von more during this time than Lil Durk, who would invite Von into his life and entourage as he continued his rise as one of Chicago's most promising rappers. Durk was working on his 2018 mixtape Just Cause Y'all Waited, and that tape featured the classic track Durky-O Crazy. Soon after getting out of jail, Von would be sitting in the back of Durk's car previewing this future classic before it was released. Perhaps the reason that Durk wanted to play Von this track is because the song itself references Von's case, with Durk rapping that a witness went missing and now Von is coming home. Once again, Von's real life of crime was providing inspiration for Chicago's biggest rappers. Clearly Durk was inspired by the return of his newly freed hitter and would continue spending time with him. Later that day, in the same Instagram Live, King Von would explain to Durk how he grew his hair in jail just to keep himself warm, and explaining just how painful the shackles were that he was forced to wear whilst in solitary confinement.
It was cold them nights. It was cold them nights. For them great, I'm under that blanket. Ooh, it was ugly. Ankle still got that scar on it. Look for the thing. The shackles, them killing.
Going to court?
In the hole, you gotta wear shackles.
Oh, no?
Man, everything.
Every day?
Every time you come out.
Oh.
Yeah, every day. You gotta get on the phone, you man.
This when you walk, people this.
Right. No, it'd be the back of my shit, cause my ankle's little as hell. I'm full now. Look, I got that peeling on.
Von would seemingly spend Christmas 2017 with Durk too, with them being seen together on social media, listening to classic Chicago drill anthems by L.A. Capone. Moving into 2018, Von started off in classic Savage mode, posting on social media, toting guns, and declaring his desire to bring war to his ops. He had been seen on clips on social media, walking through O-Block and showing the world that he was still in these streets, untouched even after all of the people he had allegedly killed, even speculating on who was in the comments on these lives, his ops or the cops.
Oh, in that block. You know I'm with that block. Hey, y'all in the house, so it's over. I don't be knowing if these the fans or folks now. Folks knocking like fans.
As January went on, Von would continue to flex his muscles on social media, and he would be seen listening to NBA Youngboy of all people, whilst chilling with O-Block native Mona Duke and telling followers that they were smoking their dead ops.
A lot of your dead mans. Phone them. Tuka man, goddamn it, Brick man, Kobe man. And we strapped up. And we strapped up.
Clearly, Von was still in the streets initially. After enjoying some time in Atlanta with Lil Durk, once he'd returned to Chicago in February, he'd quickly find himself in trouble, tweeting that he was riding around with a gun and weed. Then he would end up getting arrested at O-Block on February the 14th, 2018, the one-year anniversary of T-Roy's death. With this arrest taking place soon after he tweeted that he was in O-Block and armed on the anniversary of T-Roy's murder. Von would be arrested on charges of shooting and bodily harm, with cops claiming that he ran from them and threw a gun, battering them in the process of the arrest, with the body cam footage of this arrest later becoming public, which showed a menacing King Von telling the police with pride that he just beat a body and 2 attempted murders.
So this is the gentleman we were chasing, but on video they went back, went under the cars where we think he ditched it, got in the vehicle, we stopped the vehicle, get him out, battery, fight with that, vehicle takes off on us when we got this, and then we got about 50 people around us. So
What happened?
You're gonna go to jail for battery to a police officer.
Who I hit?
Me?
Where?
And you also.
I got everything.
Where at? Thank you very much. We'll take it
I've been
then.
cuffed since I was in the country. If I go home, it's Valentine's Day.
You got the plate number since you got it on tape, man? Hey, my man. Oh, you don't have that? Okay, listen. All right. I know, but I got a pen ready.
Come on, finish.
Switch them up.
2 N's, 2 T's.
Watch it, because he's gonna. You look her?
They want. You ain't want to be in here now. I live in Atlanta. No, I think I'm trying to go.
What?
You got a middle?
Yeah, why? You guys want it?
How about date of birth?
And she was here the whole time videotaping.
94.
Oh, well, for majority of it, not when we got him out of the car.
come in through the main entrance.
Yeah, a lot of times.
I cuffed him this way because
Cause y'all let me go for my Valentine's Day.
you talked to jail.
I just got it. You don't know me. That's what I'm saying.
What were you locked up for?
Body and 2 2.
I'm sorry?
You want it, you're gonna have it.
You're going to want to cuff him back.
Yeah.
He's,
Come on, about my
he's
car,
all
man.
kinds of fun.
Let go.
Let go. We got you.
Let go, stupid man.
No, we got you.
Let go.
Hey, we got it from here.
All right. You got locked up over here recently?
No, hell no.
Where'd you locked up at?
Huh? I got it. Jay, I beat my case. I was charged with first degree murder.
You on video right now, man.
It's cool.
Put your hands behind your back.
So what I'm getting charged with right now? Put that on video.
We're gonna figure it out.
But now I'm not under arrest.
Yes, you are.
For what?
Probably trespass over here.
Yeah.
And hitting a guy.
Hitting who? Everybody got fur hood.
And you got Polo.
Is he battery? Okay, no problem.
Polo.
Thank you.
All right. Where's your coat, man?
He asked him, man. The super cop.
Where's his coat?
It's in the back seat of the Infinity.
It's gone?
They took off, yeah.
After the arrest, a furious-looking King Von mugshot circulated online, but Von would be out within just a couple of days, tweeting that he believes that the cops have it out for him because he escaped those murder charges, and he would boast that he would never let them get him. Clearly, King Von wasn't ready to permanently move on from his life as an O-Block hitter, and he would still be going live on O-Block in March 2018, mocking their dead ops.
Right. Who got Tuka Man? That's what we need. Hurry to Tuka Man! I sure got Trent, Poppy, Mayan. I can't be in no room without smelling Tuka. I gotta at least smell it for them just to know like Tuka's still around. And loving memory of Tuka.
But Von would also continue to be seen hanging out closely with Lil Durk, seemingly making regular trips to spend time with the rapper in Atlanta. At a certain point, Von and Durk would be reunited with another friend and feared Chicago shooter, THF Bezu, with Bezu, just like Von, beating a 2014 murder charge for a shooting that occurred in 2009. Lil Durk was now rolling with 2 certified Chicago shooters on his team. But the plan wasn't to shoot. Durk planned instead to transform these hardened street figures into rap superstars. The realest rappers who had ever rapped, with the realest backstories to back it up. Von would post pictures in the studio with Durk, saying that he isn't going back to his old ways, and hinting to an upcoming career in the rap game. Since beating his murder case and coming home, Von had the perfect backstory to kickstart his music career too. THF Bezu had essentially been through the very same situation, so Von and Bezu would be paired up and placed into a studio where they would record a song all about their shared experience beating real-life murder charges, something that Von and Bezu would open up about in a 16-shot interview.
Me and some used to be bodies and like, that's the story we continue. Like, they charged us with some bodies we ain't doing shit, we beat them.
On May the 27th, 2018, King Von and THF Bezu released their first song, Beat That Body, a track coming with shocking lyrics where Von essentially admits to catching bodies, beating them, and even saying that he now plans to catch more. This insane backstory would be irresistible for Chicago drill fans, with Durk later revealing that people instantly went crazy for Von's music in Chicago.
And he see like us, what we doing is music, and I had a studio in my house. He just tried it, and when he dropped the song, like the reaction was just like, he next. I'm like, oh, you on to something, you know what I'm saying?
But Von didn't seem too hopeful for his rap career to begin with, barely promoting the song, and seemingly having no plans to give up his full-time job as an O-Block driller, or at least shot caller, because in the months that followed Von's musical debut, killings would still continue to play out in the streets, with Von appearing to remain plugged into the action. Not only giving Von and his gang even more credit in the streets, but with these murders also providing Von with the inspiration to get back into the booth, where he would continue to record music all about the deadly violence that he would soon become famous for. While King Von was in jail, numerous people from O-Block ended up getting killed. Perhaps it was precisely because their most fearless shooter was in jail that so many people ended up passing while he was gone. Von was particularly hurt by the killing of T-Roy, his right-hand man, and after T-Roy was killed, a new set of gangsters would form in O-Block who went by the name Get Back Gang. This was a hardened crew of shooters whose sole focus was to get revenge or get back for the murder of T-Roy and other beloved O-Block natives who had been killed while Von was in jail. Another one of these fallen O-Block affiliates was Chino, who was shot dead on the 17th of July 2016. Another, Big A, was gunned down in a restaurant near O-Block on the 4th of December 2016. Get Back Gang would be on a killing spree trying to avenge their fallen friends, looking to kill anyone who played a role in their demise. Poppy, believed to have been involved in hits against O-Block, would be gunned down at work on the 16th of June 2017, allegedly being shot in the head by an O-Block member called Heck, who would go on to be known by the nickname HK or Headshot King. HK was T-Roy's brother and would reportedly avenge him, with T-Roy's alleged killer TB or Terry Barry being shot dead on the 26th of December 2017. However, HK himself would end up being killed in O-Block 2 just before Von got out of jail on the 24th of November 2017. Another person who seemingly lost their life to Get Back Gang's revenge campaign during this time would be FBG Brick, FBG Doug's brother, rumoured to have played a role in giving up T-Roy's location to the ops the day he was killed, with Brick and his friend Kobe being gunned down in a Get Back Gang attack on the 17th of July 2017. In fact, many of these murders played out in 2017 whilst Von was still behind bars for the murder of Malcolm Stuckey. And when Von got out, despite becoming a rapper, spending time in Atlanta with Lil Durk, and seemingly taking a step away from the gang war, Von would still seem to be looked at as a senior figure and shot caller to members of O-Block and Get Back Gang. And when they killed again, King Von would be on the sidelines celebrating the murder as if it was one of his own. On June the 13th, 2018, King Von would tweet saying that there's a new rule. You can only diss or smoke a dead person that you yourself actually killed. Only days after that tweet, Get Back Gang would unfortunately claim another life. The next unlucky person to be killed would be a St. Lawrence native by the name of Can't Get Right, aka Man Man, real name DeAndre Wallace. On June the 15th, 2018, around 9:50 PM, Can't Get Right is waiting for food outside of a store on 400 block of East 63rd Street. At a certain point, two people pulled up and waited outside, and when the target was spotted, those two men ran up, opening fire, killing both the target as well as an innocent bystander that was just there sweeping up outside the restaurant. And once again, the shooting and immediate aftermath were captured on CCTV footage and by witnesses in clips that are far too grisly to show you on YouTube. Both men shot in the incident were pronounced dead at the University of Chicago Hospital, with the news even later reporting on this assassination.
Morning are looking for the gunman who killed two men overnight. They were standing outside of a store in the city's Woodlawn neighborhood when someone started shooting. A 43-year-old man was shot in the chest. He died at the hospital. The other victim, a 22-year-old, also died. Police say the 22-year-old is a known gang member and was the intended target.
King Von would go live on the same day as this double murder alongside Memo 600 while still in Atlanta with Lil Durk's team. And in this live, King Von would set out to poke fun at his murdered rivals immediately after they were killed. And let's not forget, only days before this, King Von tweeted that you can't disrespect the dead unless you played a role in killing them. With that in mind, King Von's livestream after the murder was truly a masterclass in self-incrimination. They would start the live off lighting a blunt and saying that their smoking can't get right and asking the viewers what just happened.
There you go, can't get right. There you go, there you go. Cause I can't get right. Alright, now, everybody, not at one time. What just happened?
With over 200 flavor notes, every sip of Woodford Reserve Bourbon is a spectacle for the senses.
Oh, what just happened? A lot of blizzards and everything. Hold on, you right there with your hand. You tell me what happened. Who got killed? That's what I'm asking y'all. Who got killed, gang? Yeah. Can't get right, got killed. Merge. Can't get right, got. Hey, somebody show me a picture. I don't think I know y'all talking about. Is this can't get? Is that can't get right? Hold on, is this him? Is this or is this him? Right? This ain't called snitching. I'm just trying to get verification.
From here, people start commenting, "Can't get up," and it seems that the O-Block hitters are so amused by this wordplay, they essentially confess to being involved in the murder on the spot.
They tell us can't get up. They always make some shit before we do it. They beat us to it every time. Y'all should start killing people. Cause y'all be doing this, you doing the man. Oh, Steve, this ain't crazy.
After this, we see the crew say that it's 2 people down and that they're going to have to roll another one, whoever it is, seemingly unaware that it was an innocent cleaner who was killed in the incident.
They said 2 down. Dang. 2 men, that I can't take. On David, they said it on both our lives. I can barely take David. 2 pieces? I can take one. Somebody roll another one. Can't. Whoever else got hit.
They even started reacting mockingly to the ops posting long tributes to their fallen friend on Instagram in real time in this live.
See that paragraph under that picture, you know it's so. Damn, best friend, you just told me to pop out. I remember back in the days when you just told me to pop out, best friend. Why the f you do me like this? You bogus as hell. We ain't try to. They gonna be dissing you. You better not get caught like that.
From here, Von and his friends would continue mocking the ops by specific block and saying that the FN gave him a fresh fade like Lil Boosie.
Steady taking losses. STL, steady taking losses. Motherfucker gave him a fresh fade, Boosie Boost. Hey, why did they even put him on Front Street like he was even like that though?
Then King Von comes back and says straight up that Man Man must have known he was going to die and that no one will care he's gone.
He probably knew he was gonna die.
BD.
I wish I could talk to him for that. Don't nobody even care about Can't Get Right like that. I don't think they gonna slide like that. I don't think nothing finna happen because of that. So
they finna waste the rest of their money on that.
We ain't even gonna act like nothing finna happen. Just y'all go in the house. Whoever ain't get shot, you lucky today. I'm finna go in the house. It's over.
After this, they even started reliving the hit, saying that their ops aren't used to somebody jumping out of the car and firing at them non-stop.
You ain't used to somebody just popping out a cut for real, looking
at your ass,
really on your ass. You just get the flap past your you just want to do like one of these because you acting like you fake tough. But get the hitting you, damn, this shit, I can't move.
Crump getting that there, little before they got you too.
Whilst King Von is on live bragging about this hit from another city, O-Block members Muwop posted a picture on Instagram with fellow member Duke saying that they are shooters. Meanwhile, E-Dog from O-Block jumped on Twitter to say that the get back is not over. Just the day after the murder, King Von tweeted saying that the stakes are higher now than ever and that the police have their eye on him. Von later tweeted claiming that his brothers made the new op pack, literally giving direct responsibility for this murder to his team. It seemed clear at this point that Von was not only happy about the killing that his friends from O-Block were doing, but he was actively encouraging it, and quite possibly the one giving the orders. Friends of Man Man would post outright saying that they believed King Von paid for the hit.
Doing all that, tap him up and see if he can get up and all that goof ass. You know what I'm talking about too.
Whoa. Do you guys feel that it was somebody from the other side that may have did it, or you think it was like a random act of violence in the city of Chicago?
We know who did it, man. All these of the city did it, man.
Okay.
They hate us. But they ain't gonna step outside them gates though. But they know. King Von. We gonna say his name. King Von.
But Von honestly didn't seem to care about anything at this point, and despite the fact that word was spreading that he was the shot caller in Get Back Gang's murders, Von wasn't trying to keep this a secret. In fact, he was ready to broadcast that message to millions of people, because on July the 31st, 2018, Lil Durk's Only the Family Involved Volume 1 compilation album releases. The project featured many of Lil Durk's friends, including King Von, whose new song Problems would be included on the project, with this entire track being all about Von having hitters that catch bodies for him, even warning people, do not get bodied by me. The song essentially tells the story of O-Block shooters killing people on Von's command. The song also featured an intro where he shouted out Get Back Gang, and there were lyrics about killing both the target and witnesses. Von would rap that killing is his hobby, and he says that his loyal shooters are the ones catching bodies for him. Von would also tease a music video for this track, which ended up dropping on Lil Durk's official YouTube channel on August the 9th, King Von's 24th birthday. Meanwhile, Lil Durk was impressed with King Von's murder raps, tweeting that Von was next up to break into the rap game, and this would be followed by Von telling fans that he would soon be dropping music with Lil Durk himself, and saying that he would be switching up and not associating with anyone he used to know.
Once this song with Durk drop, I'm acting like I don't know none of y'all. I'm acting for money. I'm changing up.
Durk was clearly seeing the potential in King Von's music, and from here, the two of them would be seen together on social media, having a good time and getting the fans more and more familiar with Durk's newest prospect.
Yeah, what the thing you talking about bodies and like that. Mermaid Man, Barnacle Boy. Come on, man. Phone them, get your cat dog looking ass on phone. Get your rat looking ass, big mouse looking ass on phone. Mickey Mouse. Damn.
Von was beginning to lay the foundations for a successful rap career, but he also continued to be reckless. Around this time, Von is seen in a viral Instagram live clip telling a small child on O-Block to disrespect Tuka and training him to shoot people in the head with a water pistol.
Shoot him in his head. Shoot him in his head. You got a point right here. Boom. Say it. You gotta shoot him in his head. Shoot him.
Shoot him!
Say Tuka.
Tuka. That's not.
You shot Tuka? Say Tuka, man. Shoot him again. Shoot him in his head.
After this, Von would tweet about having killers around him and posting pictures of his whole crew. And as Von's popularity grew, people would eventually annotate these pictures, speculating on how many people each O Block member had killed. Naturally, all of this reckless behaviour on social media brought even more police attention onto O Block. By the end of August 2018, the block is hot, and King Von is seen on live observing arrests taking place on O Block itself, even saying that he has his shoes tied in case he needs to run.
And I got my shoes tied. I'm getting out of there. They trying to find the secret recipe to the Krabby Patty secret Plankton. They trying to find the secret formula to the Krabby Patty recipe. Damn, they took the truck. No, they ain't take the truck. Ain't. Traffic man skirt. We gonna get another, we rich. Y'all can have that one. That's the one we on your light. They're trying to see what we on. Talking about what's going on. Somebody gangbanging with us, BDK.
Von would tweet about not wanting to discuss murders on camera and suggesting that at this point the gang war must be over. But as we'd later find out, the war would be far from over. While King Von was making a name for himself as a rapper, still commanding his shooters from O Block, he would continue to be associated with serious crimes from a distance. With the next incident involving one of his longest running enemies and a feared op of O Block's, Wooski.
Not like my dad. I'm smarter than him. I'm better than him.
Where the love go?
We gotta move this.
King Von had started out October 2018 strong, fresh off the back of his song and music video Problems, where he appeared to celebrate his gang-murdering O Block rival Can't Get Right. Von would continue pushing his career forward, dropping a full music video for his first song, Beat That Body with THF Bezu, which featured an intro where they both walked out of jail together. Outside of the music, Von was also beginning to notice the many videos being made about him and his past, even resharing a YouTube video breaking down his Twitter beef with FBG Duck, seemingly unhappy. Clearly Von was monitoring his reputation on social media and cultivating his brand as the toughest rapper out, doing all of this whilst real violent crimes would continue to play out on the streets of Chicago where he was from. Just before 4 PM on October the 9th, 2018, Chicago rapper Dusky the Man, real name Ventrese Chris, would be shot in the head on the 5600 block of South Michigan Avenue, apparently the result of a drive-by carried out by a passing brown vehicle. The evening before the murder took place, Von would tweet that there's a dark cloud over Chicago. King Von would go on live a few days later with Lil Durk, saying that he's smoking Dusky, KI, Tuka, and P5.
A lot of Tuka men in the ass like that.
Gang.
A lot of fat heads of Dusky in the L, a lot of KI in the L.
E-Dog in them.
A lot of P5 in them in the L. Light bitch, big A in the L. Okay, he got his foot up.
Know what's going on,
Put
man.
your foot down.
Hey, niggas know.
Oh, hey, ain't shit changed, man. You a gangster. Only gangsters eat that.
You a P, what you on?
You look nice. You looking real like
You
it's
look
Channel
like a
Up.
PG like us, a player gangster.
Damn, shine the little man.
Violence was continuing to play out in the streets, and Von was loving it, because he would continue taking the details of killings his crew were allegedly involved in and placing them into musical gangbanging anthems. Just after a week after the Dusky shooting on October the 18th, he dropped a new song called War With Us, notable for lyrics that appear to take credit for the murder of female driller KI, as well as lines dissing Tuka, and Von ending the song literally saying that he is a hitman. Von was dangerous, but now he was beginning to make it as a rapper, he wanted the whole world to know just how dangerous he really was. And one of the biggest enemies he wanted to get even with is a Tukaville GD by the name of Wooski. Von and Wooski had been going back and forth all the way back to 2012, when Von was catching bodies in Chicago. Von and Wooski had an infamous exchange on Twitter after trying to catch each other lacking at the local convenience store. Von would tweet at Wooski, bragging about people Wooski knew who Von or his friends had killed, something that Wooski would do back to Von in response. In one shocking back and forth in 2012, Von even bragged to Wooski that he had more bodies and attempts than him, with the two arguing about who would end up getting killed first. Not only did Von and Wooski's feud in the streets run deep all the way back before 2012, but now that Von was trying to make it as a rapper, he would be contending with the likes of Wooski picking up a microphone too, with Wooski having dropped the very disrespectful song Computers at the start of 2018, a track that featured numerous lyrics insulting dead O Block affiliates like Big A, J Money, White, Chino, and OD Perry. Wooski even ended the song saying that they're on the hunt for the killers of Poppy and TB, two of the prominent murders seemingly committed by O Block's Get Back gang. So, the beef between Von and Wooski was incredibly personal, and Wooski was also very close with the recently deceased Dusky, with them having made the song Shooters together. Just a few days after Dusky was killed, King Von and others from O-Block would FaceTime Wooski, telling him that they were going to catch him by surprise.
This your big brother, yeah, you know the going on. That's your big brother, you know.
I wish I could say one of y'all was my boys. We got all goofies over there.
I ain't trying to do it tonight on
What's y'all off the courage? What made y'all do it tonight?
We gonna surprise.
You talking about tonight.
We gonna surprise, bro. Some bitches out for the free.
But you talking about tonight.
So, from here, it seems like Wooski's ops hatched up a plot to shoot up Dusky's funeral because they knew that he would be there. On the afternoon of the 22nd of October, at Dusky's funeral, soon after this picture is taken, a car turns up. People jump out of that car and begin shooting into the crowd outside the church, firing indiscriminately, but looking specifically to kill Wooski. 6 people were hit in this shooting, with Wooski himself being shot in the head, but he would miraculously survive. Only a few days after the shooting, Von would begin tweeting, I kid you not, comparing himself to Jesus, and then tweeting, laugh now, cry later, and game over, we won, with fellow O-Block shooter Muwop retweeting and agreeing with this. Over the next few years, Von would go on to drop numerous disrespectful lyrics referencing the shooting of Wooski, like on the track Grandson for President, where he raps that Wooski got shot in his head and now has to take medicine for his injuries. Von would rap on the song GTA, Who Shot Wooski? How Would I Know? Von also rapped on the track Go and Get 'Em that he will be at your funeral on time to give your mother a tissue. And then there's the lyrics on his track Back Again, where he literally says that he slides at funerals, shoots everyone outside, and that Wooski is going to feel this one, going on to say, I bet Wooski's still twitching, he changed, something different. Those are some of the most disrespectful lyrics I have ever come across, but it's also incredibly self-incriminating. It's honestly insane that Von was getting away with stuff like this, but it really was this kind of raw and real content that attracted so many people to his music, whether or not they even knew what he was talking about. From here, Von would continue to mock Wooski throughout his career, posting disrespectful pictures to him on Instagram on a regular basis. But ultimately, despite being literally shot in the head, Wooski is still alive today in 2023 and still posting on Instagram. In fact, Wooski would indeed outlive King Von, just like he had promised him on Twitter in 2012, the day before Boss Trell died. But for the time being, Wooski would take a step back from the beef with Von and O-Block, and a newly charged King Von would go all in on his rap career, continuing to roll with Lil Durk and going on to record song after song about living the lifestyle of a shot-calling killer. But unfortunately for Lil Durk, rolling with this loose cannon would soon be causing him problems too, and it would only be a matter of months after the funeral shooting that Lil Durk would find himself in a car with a trigger-happy King Von, perhaps succumbing to peer pressure and picking up a gun of his own, with Lil Durk making a split-second decision that would nearly cost him his career and freedom.
If I'm not mistaken, they landed all those...
The month after the shooting at Dusky's funeral, which critically injured Wooski, King Von seemed to be worried about his reputation, tweeting that the past is always coming back to haunt him, and saying that he's not a murderer, not a rapper, not a scammer, just handsome. But also tweeting that if you play with him on the internet, he's going to your house. Perhaps behind the scenes, Von was beginning to struggle to manage his reputation. Now he was becoming a legitimate rapper in the music industry, he might have been worried about his past as a killer getting in the way of his new plans. Von said that he was having nightmares during this time, and that he was popping pills to cope. There'd be a few interesting exchanges around this time too, like a Twitter conversation between Von and his baby mama, where Von joked that he would put her on the news, and then backtracking, having to deny being a killer. At this point, Von was clearly concerned about his reputation and was on edge to even joke about being a killer. But one person who wasn't worried about Von's reputation was Lil Durk, who was doing everything he could to put King Von on during this time. In mid-November 2018, Lil Durk previews King Von's upcoming song, Crazy Story, on his Instagram. Fans knew that something huge was coming. Lil Durk was taking Von to parties to rub shoulders with other huge rappers in the industry like YNW Melly and Roddy Ricch, even taking an enthusiastic King Von to the studio to hang out with Gunna.
Hey, Durk, yo! Gunna!
Oh God.
Shalom!
Not Gunna.
Okay, Tuga, man.
Durk would even bring King Von along to his interviews, with Lil Durk's November 2018 visit to the Breakfast Club being one of the first times that the mainstream music listening public got a glimpse of King Von.
Yeah,
and this would end up being
that's
a
when I
legendary
first
appearance,
saw it.
clearly doing all he could to put the spotlight on his friend and artist. Durk had brought Von onto one of the most famous rap interview shows in the world.
What's your artist name, bro? King Von. What's up, sir?
What's up with John?
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Durk would tell Charlemagne that he wanted to sign Von because of the backstory behind him. with Charlemagne not being quite prepared for the realness when Von started talking about beating his murder charge.
What made you want to sign King Von?
Cause he got a whole story behind him.
What's the story? What's your story?
My story, I just got out of jail for just beat a body in 2 attempts. Like,
So you was in jail for 2 murders?
yeah, 1 murder and 2 attempts. I just beat.
How you beat that?
What you mean?
I mean, you didn't do it, clearly. But I mean, like, how? I mean,
like, you know,
Right.
jury, yeah, look, you know.
In the interview, you could visibly see Lil Durk trying to look out for Von and covering his tracks after Charlemagne began asking Von if he actually did the murder, with Durk butting in, saying that Von beat it because he didn't do it.
You gonna beat it. You gonna beat it if you didn't do it. That's all.
Von would go on to say that he can't get a normal job in Chicago because he's done so much dirt in the streets that if he was seen working a normal job, he would probably be killed on sight.
It's like, I can't work no job in Chicago, you see what I'm saying? Like, it's just,
Why not?
Why couldn't you work a job in Chicago?
I got a face card. Like, I can't.
Oh, I got you. People
like,
know you.
say if I'm behind the counter at McDonald's, somebody coming out there, do something crazy. You know?
Yeah.
Then, at the end of the interview, as Von was explaining to Charlemagne that he had no plans after jail because he's got no experience doing anything, suddenly Durk begins to cough, seemingly giving Von an indication not to say anything incriminating about his former life as a killer.
What other plans did you have other than rap?
I ain't had no plan. That's the
No
thing. Like, you get
snitching.
out, you got a lot of shit on your mind, so you getting that. What to do, what to do, what to do. It's like, back to the streets.
Have you ever been
No
arrested
experiences doing nothing. I ain't, you know?
Yeah, he looking at him like, all right, cool.
This interview was also the perfect opportunity
"Alright,
for
cool."
Von to promote his upcoming hit
He was
song,
like, "Nah, I
Crazy
ain't."
Story.
Crazy Story drop like sometime this week coming up. Sometime
damn.
like any day.
Von would go on to tease the music video for Crazy Story, telling fans that he has a movie coming. And he would even surprise himself with the amount of comments that he got on the post about the song. Von would go on to release the audio for Crazy Story on December the 6th, 2018, just 1 day before the 1-year anniversary of him beating his murder case. Von would claim around this time to be making chess moves in the hopes that he would win at life, and his next move would indeed be a big one, with the full-blown music video for Crazy Story dropping on WorldStar on the 11th of December. Von himself would be amazed at racking up a whopping 110,000 views in his first day, but the appeal of Crazy Story was undeniable. It was a storytelling type song where Von would use his lyrics to tell an entire narrative, telling the story of himself plotting an armed robbery on a rich drug dealer and using a woman to set them up. But the robbery would go wrong when Von's ops caught him lacking, with the track ending in a shootout, and the entire story playing out in the cinematic music video for the song, with Von playing the main character and narrator. Von would end the song dropping his iconic final line where he introduced the world to his regular catchphrase, rapping "From 64th and from 65th, we not from 63rd," shouting out O-Block on 64th and 65th King Drive, and dissing his ops from 63rd and St. Lawrence and Eberhart Avenues, aka Toucaville. Dissing 63rd would become a massive part of Von's brand, and he would even later be seen selling merch showing the street sign for 63rd with a big cross over it. And the popularity of the song Crazy Story had Von's fans all over the world dissing 63rd without really even knowing what it means. Crazy Story was distributed by Lil Durk's OTF label and racked up a whopping 3 million views in a week. This is a huge hit, and today it sits over 69 million views on YouTube. Von was on a high after dropping Crazy Story. The week after the release, he would tweet a picture with the caption saying that people see you shining and forget that you're dangerous. And from here, he would make numerous tweets suggesting that the money was finally rolling in. At the end of December 2018, Durk would hop on an Instagram live with Von with a big stack of money celebrating the success of their release.
Oh, what's that?
I got a drop on the flex. He from Tennessee.
What that is? Confetti in your hand?
Playing, boy.
Yeah, bro. Don't throw that. Hey, you gonna break some of that. Don't throw that, bro.
Then, in the new year, King Von would begin performing his hit song at live shows, even reacting on Twitter to his new song playing on the radio, suggesting that some people might have been shocked when they heard him coming out of their car stereo. Von felt like he had truly made it at this point, tweeting that even his mother was finally proud of him and saying that he felt truly blessed for the position that he had reached in life. But some people in Chicago were surprised. Now King Von was being played on the radio, doing interviews with The Breakfast Club, and becoming a household name, some people who knew him in Chicago for being a ruthless shooter were giving the side eye. There was actually a really interesting Reddit thread, asking people who knew of Von before 2017 to share what they thought when they saw him getting success in the music industry. Some said that they thought when he first started rapping he wouldn't get anywhere, but then when he kept progressing, it seemed like his life was a real movie. Whilst another person would say, 100% I could not believe it. When Durk took him on Breakfast Club, it was so surreal, and he almost admitted to murder on there too. But still, I never thought he would blow up. Then Crazy Story came out and started picking up steam, and it was like, dear God, this literal gang assassin is being played at NFL stadiums.
Red Rover, Red Rover. Send a company that's moving and storage combined on over. At your location or ours. Local or long distance. Experience the flexibility of Red Rover Fetchable Moving and Storage. Call or click to get moving.
Get out of here.
Choose hydration. Pick up a Smart Water or Vitamin Water Zero at your local CVS store today.
Off the back of the success of Crazy Story, King Von would begin going even harder in his music, with his next track getting even more disrespectful to the ops. On January the 9th, 2019, Mimo 600 and King Von would drop their new track, Exposing Me, and in the song Von mentions Wooski getting shot in the head. He says that he's put in so much work in the street that Get Back Gang will now look out for him. He says outright that he was a killer before the rap, and saying, "I swear I killed her, broke her back," a possible reference to K.I.'s murder. He would say that he's smoking Tuka and Lil Mark, and Von even shouts out an old friend from O-Block, DQ, as his shooter, suggesting that he will call a hit and have DQ shoot someone for him. It seemed like the more violent and real Von's music got, the more fans flocked to him. But since the success of his Crazy Story, and being brought under the wing of successful Chicago drill rap legend Lil Durk, Von was spending a lot of time away from the mean streets of Chicago that he had rapped about, instead beginning to get used to living the high life of a successful rapper like Durk. Rather than jumping in stolen cars and doing drills, Von was seen with Durk jumping off of luxury yachts, seemingly surrounded by people who knew his reputation well.
Okay, Durk, yo, it's on you now. This Durk scared. This scared. Okay, Von. This scared. Yeah, I'm a bitch. Look at Von. He too scared. They talking about Von, he scared to jump. They out here talking about you, all that savage, and you scared to jump in the water.
But all of the success Von was seeing didn't seem to change who he really was underneath. It seemed like Durk was doing his best to take a killer out of a dangerous environment and turn him into a good person and rapper. But perhaps Lil Durk didn't realize that he was also inviting that killer energy into his legitimate rap career. Because on February the 5th, 2019, around 5:49 AM, Lil Durk and King Von were allegedly outside Atlanta restaurant The Varsity. Here, an altercation would take place in the parking lot where allegedly Lil Durk and King Von, along with fellow OTF affiliate THF Bezu and another Chicago native named Hella Bands, would allegedly shoot and rob a man by the name of Alexander Witherspoon, allegedly targeting him for $30,000 cash that he had on him at the time. Detectives would later claim that a video showed Lil Durk shooting out of his own personal car, a custom Jeep Trackhawk with a camouflage wrap and a large 300 on the sign that he was known to own. Durk had even posted clips of this car to Twitter with the caption, "Spin, spin," clips which even Von himself had reposted. Cops would be seen analysing the scene after the shooting, and the local news would report on the shooting before even becoming aware of these famous rappers' involvement.
Police found several shell casings in this parking lot. The Varsity was closed at the time this happened, around 5:45 this morning, but this club across Spring Street was open, and one patron who was parked in the Varsity lot to go to that club told me what he went through. The man from Chicago, who goes by Gutta, returned to the Varsity parking lot this afternoon to change the tire and assess the damage on his cousin's car after it was hit by bullets.
Tired, exhausted, wild night. I'm just happy I'm alive, basically. So that's really what my main focus is.
He had just paid the cover to get into one cigar lounge across Spring Street when he heard the shots outside around 5:45 a.m. He says people hit the floor and he hid in a bathroom. Police say a 23-year-old man was in serious condition when he was rushed to the hospital after the shooting. They are now looking for a dark-colored SUV. They are doing anything they can to help Atlanta police.
The afternoon after the shooting, Von would post up on Twitter with a handful of cash and a gun on the couch next to him. Later on, posting a tweet saying you never know who's gonna snitch when the cops come. Then, the day after the shooting, Von would tweet asking if you can be a killer and a good person too. A few days later, on February the 9th, 2019, Von would be seen in the background on an Instagram Live with Asian Doll, with Von talking to his friend on the phone, possibly about this very shooting. He would seemingly be telling his friend that he thinks he made all of the wrong moves, and saying that the cops are now watching him.
Now you know I ain't trying to do none of this. Oh dude, that is so fluky. We just did the wrong shit. That's why I tell you I gotta get it together. That shit was fool. You just feel like you made all the wrong moves, on mistake. We just was tweaking on foot and that shit, We just got to be tighter last time for them. Nah, you understand? See that look? See, that's the part I was saying. Like, everybody be tweaking with me on, Jason, them all of my head tweaking with me, talking about this, that, and that. But I ain't letting you know that. I'm just letting them tweak with me and trying to make sure everything decent. All the time, you don't be seeing all that part, man. I'm arguing with the man about putting on. I'm arguing about the man at the show. I'm arguing with the man on the stage. I'm arguing with the man everywhere, And you think I'm just, you know,
They
ain't
talking about
doing
where the fuck he get that accent.
Yeah, they be tweaking with me, boy. I'm pulling on that shit on me.
I don't understand him sometimes, y'all. Either.
Man, you worry about the run. That's little shit, gang. That's what nothing you need to think about it, talk about. Just everything happened fluky that day. Oh, it's fluky. That one shit. Yeah, I know that I'm swinging you in the truck with us on phone when I get out right there. Well, you know, I'm high and thinking about it.
But clearly, Von wasn't too worried about the cops watching, because he would tweet on February the 21st that he was ready to catch another body. And the day after, Von jumps on a reckless IG Live with fans, showing off all the money he had apparently made from features, dissing Tuka, and saying that he's not a rapper, just a gangster who raps for the money.
Hey, this feature, man, you know, I just picked this up, little folks. What, you about to drink some, smoke some? No, I'm gonna smoke Tuka. You know who Tuka is? No, what is that? That's him. He been dead for a long time. You don't know Tuka. The rapper! Man, I'm not a rapper, man. See, they think I'm from home. Nah, I'm a gangster. I just rap because they be giving me money for it.
While cops were slowly piecing together the facts about the shooting, Von was continuing with his rap career, without sparing a thought to how much self-incrimination he was doing to himself at the time. On February the 28th, Von drops a feature on Dari's song, Gang Only, where he raps he has a lot of bodies, even saying that on his first murder, the victim thought it was a robbery. Around a week later, on March the 5th, 2019, King Von's song Wait unofficially leaks. That track has some brazen lyrics, where he says that he has more bodies than the killer from Scream, as well as admitting that he shot up Dunbar School with L.A. Capone, something he had tweeted about prior. He would also say that he remembers his first murder and saying that he missed a bunch of shots, but now his aim is better. And while these demonic tracks are circulating online, King Von and Lil Durk are having a great time flexing on Instagram Live and fighting over who has the most money and designer clothing.
Hey, you saw me flexing earlier?
No, man, I was too big.
Nickname Popeye. Popeye, no spinach. Yeah. Come on. Hold on.
Twisted Tea is a refreshing hard iced tea made with real brewed tea. Keep it twisted.
I was too busy, no. I just
what?
know.
What?
Damn. I don't play. I just married myself to death.
You flies.
That's no matter though. You over there with 20 on?
Huh?
You over there with $20?
Don't try to count my money. Don't count my pockets on phone number. Hey, what you on though? Damn. You do it too much. Them GBS's and them things.
That's a couple belts.
Hey, I'm saying.
$5.50 a piece.
You still flexing?
And got these Chanel right here.
Later on in this live, Von would joke to Lil Durk, saying that he was smoking on Lil Mark and Tuka.
I'm right here kicking with Lil Mark. Dirty ass.
Damn.
That shit.
Marky.
That shit we so much yesterday, man.
Marky.
I never like with sleep in the studio.
Lil Mark. Tuka, nigga, y'all know what the f going on. I don't know about this.
But at this point, King Von was playing huge concerts to massive crowds, and selling verses to other rappers all over the country and making headlines in major rap publications. King Von would tweet around this time that he was scared to go back to jail and hoping that he wasn't making the wrong decisions, and suggesting that he was worried that if he did go back to jail, all his new friends would leave him behind. But no matter how far Von got into the rap industry, he just couldn't stop toting guns and thugging. At the end of March, Von was seen riding around with Lil Durk, toting a big strap for any ops that might pull up, even joking about having more bodies than anyone in the car and saying that he's about to get indicted and go to jail for a long time.
Stop playing me on both them grades. They acting gay. Stop playing. Playing.
They back on? Are they right? Yeah. Up and down we go.
And I got more bodies than got this low back up, man. He getting tighter than this.
Late.
It's over. Look, you know I'm coming out. Look.
After this, Durk had whoever was behind the wheel driving incredibly fast in that Jeep Trackhawk, with Von seemingly in fear of his life and joking that his gun is about to go off.
That's up good.
Up and down we go.
Oh, here go crazy. And this whole king. Whoa. Riding in that
riding with a thought. Damn, you ain't no get through this, cuz. How you gonna do? Stop! Stop doing that, man.
Put this motherfucker down.
Stop playing, man. It's time, man. I quit.
Nah, cuz. You drag.
This sick, this go on.
You got it on the drive, cuz.
It's a truck.
Man.
Oh, my ears working out.
I'll talk to my fans for this. Yeah.
I love y'all. Everybody on here. I love y'all.
What you talking about, boy? Hold on.
Oh, man, slow down.
Slow down, cuz.
Where you going? Slow down.
Cuz, slow down, cuz. Slow down, cuz. Thought the slow music was gonna work. Hey, cuz, y'all motherfucker been scared as hell. Doing 300 on that motherfucker.
I'm sweating.
Your life flash before your eyes. Hey, Chopper, so y'all scream. He said, shut the f up.
What happened to my seatbelt on? Hey, back seat with my. Damn, my seatbelt don't work.
Hey, tell
Seatbelts in this work.
Huh?
Chopper, so shut your crybaby ass
I
up.
better get this young ass on. It's gonna be fucking cool. Oh, there you go.
Your seatbelt broke. You hear that motherfucker?
Yeah.
Seatbelts don't work in this car.
You trying to put the seatbelt on, bro?
Yeah, but I'm moving around on the back seat.
I wouldn't chase me in this.
My Glock 10 down the ride to my area.
Now you back talking that games. You just screaming. You just screaming like a little.
Ain't no with me.
You just screaming. He texted you talking, I love you, bro. How's I gonna read it, motherfucker? Both of you out there.
Dirk and Von were clearly living the fast life at this point, and seemingly having faced no consequences so far for the shooting at the Varsity nearly 2 months before. However, rumours would continue to swirl about their involvement in serious crimes. On the 31st of March 2019, King Von is seen hanging out with Savannah rapper Quando Rondo, who is signed to Baton Rouge rapper NBA Youngboy, with Quando appearing in a clip on King Von's Instagram where he would diss Von's ops on 63rd.
I'm saying though, they are 63rd. Dirty ass. Hey, listen, no man, 64, y'all 63rd over there.
It seems that back then, Von and Quando Rondo's camps were pretty cool with each other. That very same night that he was with Quando, Von is seen hanging out and hitting the stage with Lil Durk. Von would tweet a picture with Durk, along with a caption saying they've got to stay focused because their enemies envy them. The same day these pictures were taken, an altercation would take place at the Hidden Village Apartments complex in Atlanta. A man named Tyreek Livat was shot dead, with the news reporting a total of 5 people shot, the result of a huge shootout. Apparently, a large fight had broken out between 2 large groups, and an hour after the fight, one group who had left and returned got into it again and begun shooting, with 5 people being hit in the altercation, and Tyreek unfortunately losing his life, being found dead by police in the parking lot around 10:30 PM. The police would say that the shooter goes by a nickname, but refused to disclose it to the press, with reports on this incident making it to the TV news the following day.
Now to a developing story. A shooting leaves 1 person dead, 4 others injured. This happened at an apartment complex in southwest Atlanta. Latasha Givens is live outside of Grady Memorial Hospital. Latasha, what are we learning about their conditions this morning?
Well, Christy, police tell us this all started at a house party last night on Landrum Drive. They tell us a fight broke out between 2 large groups, and at some point a man opened fire, hitting 5 people. Let's take a look at some of that video from last night. Police tell us 1 man was found dead at the party, while 4 others were rushed here to Grady. We're told that the victims' ages range from 17 to 20, and the victims are all male. Investigators are trying to determine a motive and what happened leading up to that shooting.
If you've never cashed a $72,556 paycheck.
After this, a rumour would circulate suggesting that King Von and THF Bezu had something to do with the shooting. However, Lil Durk would tweet, "Never," just a couple of hours after the body was discovered, followed by tweeting, "Protect the money at all costs," the morning after. Von would tweet the following morning, that you can do everything right and they're still going to find a way to bring you down, dissing somebody that he doesn't name. Meanwhile, another member of their entourage, Mimo600, would tweet the day after saying that people will end up on the news. For the record, there's never been any concrete evidence to indicate that Von, Dirk, Bezu, or any of their entourage had anything to do with this killing, and Tyreek Livert's cousin would actually do a YouTube interview saying that he also doesn't believe that Von had anything to do with the killing either.
They said King Von killed your cousin.
That's what they saying. I don't believe it, but honestly, I think they be just attaching King Von name. I don't see it. I don't see it. You know, you could be with Dirk with all these fancy and you know what I'm saying. Then you over there like. You know what I'm saying? Then it don't add up.
It's highly likely that this incident had nothing to do with Von and Dirk, but that didn't stop people all over the internet making King Von body count articles and videos speculating as to whether King Von was responsible for this murder too. None of this proves Von was involved, but what it does prove is that even if he wasn't involved, his reputation as a shooter proves Von was involved, speculating as to whether King Von was responsible. King Von body count
This guy trying to do a Google
articles and
search
videos
if he did or not. So far.
Speculating as to whether King Von was responsible for this murder too. None of this proves Von was involved, but what it does prove is that even if he wasn't involved, his reputation as a shooter would have the fans and public pointing the finger at him regularly. But as the weeks went by, Von would continue to go about his life, whilst the cops would continue building the case related to the original shooting at the Varsity. On April the 1st, the victim in the Varsity shooting, Alexander Weatherspoon, would end up being booked into a Chicago jail on unrelated charges of possession of a stolen vehicle. It seemed like the police were slowly getting closer to having something concrete, but King Von just didn't seem worried about attracting the attention of the authorities. In a social media clip uploaded on April the 2nd, 2019, King Von recorded himself singing in the back of a car with Lil Durk, dissing dead people like Dooski and saying that they almost killed Wooski.
Here we go again, here we go again, back on the road again, back on the road again, right down the avenue, right down the avenue, we catch you and you through, we catch you and you through. I don't wanna talk to you, I don't wanna talk to you, I don't really shoot, I don't really with you. Is I'm shooting right, ain't wrong. Is I'm shooting light, I'm shooting strong. Die, why? Yeah, the little Tuga, Zico, T3, Dooski, Wooski, almost. Fat head,
Also in April, he would tweet saying he's so real he might kill, and posting throwback pictures of him and T. Roy back when they were hitters in Chicago. He'd even post a picture of himself with a gun in his waistband and a caption saying his enemies envy him, as well as tweeting about Can't Get Right being killed in the parking lot. Von would tweet saying that he's never the victim, always the suspect. And this is all while police are still looking for a suspect in the Varsity shooting. On the 10th of April, a day before the anniversary of K.I.'s murder, King Von would tweet a cryptic message asking if the streets could be his Valentine, saying that they're tired of dying. Then one day after the anniversary of K.I.'s death, King Von would make a biblical tweet saying, "God said to me out of his own mouth to cut her off, grandson, and grandson said, in Jesus' name, amen." Von would even tweet reminding people that even though they see him having fun on Twitter, be careful, because he's still dangerous in real life. He would say that he'll do something to somebody if they go against him, and Von would also release a clip apparently promoting Lil Durk's new cereal, Durkios, telling people to go and buy the cereal whilst waving the clip of a gun. Von would also later tell a woman that he comes with the cereal.
Who bought that?
If you ain't order no Durkios at you a Hey, stop playing my mother twin. Order that.
A day later, on April the 16th, 2019, Von is on Instagram Live mocking Wooski for changing after being shot in the head, saying that Wooski doesn't diss them anymore.
He ain't been the same. He don't talk shit no more, nothing. I don't know what the This man talk to me every day. This man ain't DM me no more, nothing. His ass Them bullets be changing them. Man. I hope you watching. I hope you headed your ass up, dude.
That same day, he would tweet that he doesn't chase clout, he actually chases people with guns, and tweeting that Tuka died for your enjoyment. He would even tweet about the crimes that he was committing in Atlanta, saying that he's been doing damage on the Chicago streets since he was young, and now he's ready to cause problems elsewhere, #Steppers, a sentiment that apparently Lil Durk was in full support of. Durk was giving Von nothing but support during this period. He would make a cameo in the video for Von's track Cousins with Just Blow 600, another outrageously gangster anthem where King Von raps that if his ops aren't outside, then he will find and kill their cousins instead. This is an unbelievable thing to rap considering King Von's history of killing people and their cousins. But the track would have some more seemingly incriminating lyrics, like Just Blow 600 rapping that him and Von are popping pills, riding in the Jeep Trackhawk looking for ops, and killing people after fights. Von would rap that his gang's body count is 24, and he'd rap that he kills women and men and can't tell the difference. And Von would even promote the video for Cousins with a hilarious tweet, telling fans that if their cousin is cool with their ops, to go to their auntie's house right now and kill them. King Von's first tweet after posting that song was warning his ops what he would do to them if he catches them without the police around. A day after that, Von posts a picture of himself eating cereal, and tweeting about having killers that want him dead and killers that look up to him. Von was also feeling generous around this time, tweeting that he had given his mother a Gucci purse and $10,000 cash, as well as openly tweeting that he still robs people. Von would even reply to a troll who asked why he's robbing people when he's a rich, successful rapper. And Von actually replied to this, saying he robs people because he doesn't want to spend his own money, he wants to spend somebody else's. But even if he was robbing, Von would soon have the music money rolling in even more. Von would begin teasing his collaboration with Lil Durk, Crazy Story 2.0, on April 29th. Then the day after this, on April the 30th, Von ends up having a funny interaction with a fan, who replied to Lil Durk's teaser of Crazy Story 2.0, saying that she preferred it when King Von raps on his own. Von would reply to this saying, the song isn't part 2, it's a version 2, and that part 2 of Crazy Story is coming eventually, with the girl then trolling Von by pleading for him not to kill her, with Von facepalming and promising not to kill the woman. I mean, to me, this interaction really drives home just how absurd it is that you've got this celebrity rapper just trying to go about his career and release music, whilst it's widely known that he is a hardened killer and people are tweeting at him, begging him to not kill them too. But regardless, things were going well for King Von, and Crazy Story 2.0 with Lil Durk was due to be a hit. And it seemed like King Von could do with another hit, because he had apparently blown through $150,000 by this point, encouraging fans that they can do it too if they just work hard. Von would also tweet that people talk slick until bullets rip through them. Sadly for Von, the good times would soon come to an end. King Von would return to Chicago for a hometown concert, but this would end up being cancelled on the day, with Von suggesting that somebody was out to get him. And then, on May the 4th, 2019, footage would emerge showing a huge force of over 30 Chicago police officers raiding O Block to arrest King Von, with Von himself being arrested in dramatic footage where he was tackled to the ground, with an enraged mob of his friends accusing the cops of stealing his chain at the scene. And the cops even had to draw assault rifles on the crowd to keep them at bay whilst they arrested Von. In addition to those clips, the full body cam footage of King Von's arrest would later be released.
Stay on the ground. Gang, what the just don't resist. Don't resist. Gang, why y'all grab me? What the wrong with y'all? We got a car. Let's go. Hey, let me get my money in my train. Hold on, man. Oh my God. I got it. Get his train. Let's go.
They really needed 30 guys? Damn. That goes to show you how dangerous it is.
Chill. No, because you on my leg.
Let's go. I'm just going to put him in here. We're good.
Following the arrest, Von would be taken to the station where he would continue to argue with the cops.
We got your chain, baby bro.
more.
Why you cancel your show today, dog?
Y'all canceled it.
We did?
Yeah, round money.
How much you got out of it? Cameras are rolling.
I just gotta let you know you're being recorded by body cams and lights.
You don't know we nothing?
You just send the heavy. You can't do it. It was cost too much. I'm doing my shirt. Who's hacking me? I ain't got time. You tackle me because look at time.
Yeah, I had to, man. I had to. I seen you. I had to get you out the way quickly.
Why? I ain't the type to do all the extra.
We'll explain everything in a minute.
Yeah.
Alright?
Now, once this all been done, I'm alright. Y'all wrong, but
we'll apologize.
You're right. At the same time, though, when you get into custody, people that be your mans wanna, especially if you drop some on the ground, you might never see it again. They're your boys.
Trying to pull on against each other.
After Von's arrest, his furious mugshot would later be made public, and he would remain in jail for a significant stretch of time. Lil Durk would react to the news, tweeting "Free Von" with a sad face. But only the week after Von is arrested, something unexpected happened. On May the 11th, 2019, the fourth person who was in the Trackhawk on the night of the shooting, Hella Bands, would be suddenly shot and killed outside of a Miami nightclub before facing any charges, with a Miami Beach spokesperson revealing that Hella Bands was also wanted in Atlanta for attempted murder and armed robbery. After Von was picked up in Chicago and waiting to be sent back to Atlanta to face charges, 2 days later, on May the 13th, 2019, THF Bezu would also be arrested in Chicago, charged with being a fugitive from justice out of state, once again in connection with the Atlanta shooting. For the meantime, it would only be Von and Bezu in jail, with Durk remaining free and tweeting "Free Von," as well as an RIP to Hella Bands. Von would be transferred to Atlanta to face charges in connection with the shooting on May the 17th. And as usual, his sister ran his social media accounts, keeping fans updated with pictures of Von in jail. But while Von was behind bars, with his mentor Durk free, his career would keep rising in his absence. Only a couple of days later, on May the 20th, 2019, Crazy Story 2.0 drops with that Lil Durk verse. This remix of Crazy Story had King Von and Lil Durk going back to back over the original booming Crazy Story instrumental. Crazy Story 2.0 was a huge street hit, and today sits close to 100 million views on YouTube, and even landed Von his first entry on the Billboard Global 200 chart. Unfortunately, the Atlanta shooting case would also catch up to Lil Durk soon too, with Durk tweeting at the end of May that he was turning himself in, and sitting down for a TV news interview where he revealed that he was turning himself in to face these charges, and that he was also releasing a song called "Turn Myself In."
You're about to surrender as we speak.
Yeah.
How come?
Because I have nothing to hide. Like, I have nothing to run from.
You are crazy.
A rapper's ride. Soon after we spoke, Dirk Banks, a.k.a. the performer Lil Durk, emerged from his lawyer's space and headed toward an SUV. Soon after that, he stepped out in front of the Fulton County Jail. One of his lawyers says he was swiftly taken into custody there, having swiftly flown back to Atlanta after he found out he was wanted.
We found out we had a warrant. We was actually on tour. Once I heard, I immediately came back.
He's willing to turn himself in and take care of what he needs to take care of.
We immediately canceled the tour.
He's got a multi-million-dollar salary music career going.
Did you do it? Did you shoot this man?
Say no.
Did you commit the other crimes of which you're accused?
No.
Warrants involving an incident in February on North Avenue involved charges including criminal attempt to commit murder and aggravated assault. One document indicates an Atlanta police investigator said to the best of his knowledge, Banks was employed or associated with a criminal street gang to conduct or participate in gang activity, shooting at the victim while co-defendants shot and robbed him.
I had a bad background, just growing up as a child, about father being incarcerated for 25 years, 26 years. So I had a rough past, but like me moving to Atlanta, I just thought that just changed my whole identity of thinking.
After Durk and Von were in custody, an Atlanta judge revealed that they believed that there was enough evidence to charge both Durk and Von in the attempted murder, and Durk and Von would be seen in an iconic televised court appearance.
Today, Little Durk
appeared in court where a judge ruled there was enough evidence for him to go to trial.
The rapper and Bennett listened to the evidence against them in court. The APD says they used at least 5 cameras from local businesses, including this BP, as well as from the Varsity across the street in order to build their case against Lil Durk and his co-defendant. On Friday, detectives from Atlanta and Chicago testified in the criminal case against rapper Lil Durk in Fulton County Court. They say around 5 in the morning on February 5th, Lil Durk, whose real name is Dirk Derek Banks, and his co-defendant Devontae Bennett were seen on camera involved in shooting Alexander Witherspoon.
He said his chain was snatched off his neck and he had $30,000 stolen from him, and they stole the vehicle he was driving.
Police say Banks was seen on tape shooting a gun.
Apparently, their defense team were looking to put forward a self-defense plea with the suggestion that it was the man who was shot who actually initiated the altercation. Then, after some legal back and forths, Lil Durk would be granted the opportunity to get out of jail on a $250,000 bond. Following this announcement, Durk was seen running out of the jail and telling fans that Von is getting out tomorrow.
Looks like he's walking, not running. Oh wait, that might be right.
Get out of here. Get out of here. Yo, what's up? I'm getting sorry as a motherfucker possible, yeah. They told you 15 minutes, I'm gonna be 30. Okay, then. Oh, we were still waiting on the driver to come though. Just hop in, we waiting on the driver. Hey, tell me, hey, you can just stay right here.
Yeah, another car's about to pull up. No, you can just go.
I'm back.
Hey, thank everybody for the love and support.
Yeah, definitely appreciate everybody for rocking out with us, supporting us, believing us, you know.
Everybody that screams free.
Hey, I've been here so long, this Instagram feel fake. Von will be home tomorrow.
Durk was back, and he would eventually open up about his time in jail after his release, with his lawyer saying definitively he is not in a gang.
Then when you get in type of that, in a predicament like this, you would sit back and be like, damn, like why I ain't never do this more? Why I ain't never do this with my kids more? Why I ain't do this with my pops more, or my mama? You know what I'm saying? So it just set me down so I just understand life more.
A member of his legal team says slightly more than 2 months after he surrendered to be booked into the Fulton County Jail, Lil Durk, a.k.a. Dirk Banks, did a book bag giveaway Sunday in conjunction with the Atlanta Entertainment Basketball League, where kids can watch NBA players and others for free. Because it was the right thing to do, though she knows there will be critics.
It ain't nothing new pop up because of the case. We've been doing it.
That he did not do it because of the serious charges he faces after a February incident on North Avenue in which a man was wounded by gunfire, including criminal attempt to commit murder.
We'll fight our case in court.
And a gang charge.
Lil Durk validated himself as having a gang affiliation, right?
Allegedly, right.
Among others.
Being from South Southern Chicago, essentially you have to choose a gang for your safety. You don't choose a gang, you can be killed just for not being in a gang.
Is he currently in a gang?
Absolutely not. He moved to Atlanta to get away from the gang life, to get away from the streets.
Von would also be granted a $300,000 bond, being released on June the 22nd, confirmed by a tweet of course. With Von jumping on Instagram Live, fresh home from jail, and dissing his baby mama for not thinking that he would ever be getting out.
I want to shout out everybody that was on my dick and thought I wasn't coming out, suck my dick. I want to shout out everybody that's talking crazy, like my baby mama now. I've been through some Hey, last call me a hoe, I smacked the shit out of her.
Von would go from jail straight onto house arrest, opening up about his situation on Instagram Live.
I ain't got no good shout out. I can't hear. Damn. I'll be back later.
Part of the bail conditions were that Durk and Von could not be around each other, as King Von would later reveal in a No Jumper interview.
Yeah, so yeah, me and Durk, we only see each other like at court, if we got court or something.
But Von and Durk would still be releasing music together. On July the 9th, 2019, Von and Durk released their latest collab track, Like That. And despite their legal troubles, Von was still dropping lyrics hinting towards having killed K.I. and dissing Tuka. It's actually crazy to me that even whilst facing serious charges of attempted murder, both King Von and Lil Durk would continue to rap about such true criminality. Lil Durk's experiment in taking the realist gangbanger from his block and turning him into a drill rapper was going too far and jeopardizing his own career. It was only years later, after Von's death, that those charges against Lil Durk for the Varsity shooting were eventually dropped, with the district attorney saying that if King Von was still alive, he likely would have still been charged and facing trial for attempted murder.
Wait,
but in the end,
say
whilst he was alive, King Von would face no
real
consequences for his involvement for attempted murder. Saying that if King Von charges against Lil Durk for the Varsity shooting were eventually dropped, with the district attorney saying that if King Von was still alive, he likely would have still been charged and facing trial for attempted murder. But in the end, whilst he was alive, King Von would face no real consequences for his involvement in this supposed shooting. In fact, Von would bail out from these charges and continue his career, not even choosing to keep a low profile either. In fact, even with the scrutiny of the police in 2 states, Von would go on to have one of the most successful runs in the rap game, dropping song after song of violent drill anthems, with the entire world following along and wondering how this multiple murderer just kept getting away with it.
Will that be debit or credit?
Away because the garbage at their job.
What do you mean, both?
Yeah, what do you...
They're terrible at their job. They start doing their job.
Once the hip-hop world saw King Von next to Lil Durk in the courtroom in shackles, he quickly gained a reputation as one of the realest street rappers in the rap game. For some people, seeing Von in court with Durk, one of the most famous rappers in Chicago history, was their first introduction to him. However, for anybody that looked closer into his history, discovering the murder case that he beat, or as many as 7 people he was rumored to have killed, they would be easily convinced that King Von might just be one of the most deadly and dangerous people. They would be easily convinced that King Von might just be one of 7 people he was...
I want to see that. Jesus.
rumored to have killed. They would be easily convinced that King Von might just be one of the most deadly and dangerous people to ever pick up a microphone. And King Von wasn't just a killer who had gotten away with his terrible crimes, but he was seemingly willing to rap about them for the whole world to hear. Von's next release after getting arrested with Durk would be his May 30th, 2019 feature on Izzy Blatt's song Straight Facts, with this track being yet another self-incrimination fest. Von raps on the song that he used to do murder for hire, and he says that he shoots people in the face and is 7-1 on beating murder cases. Von even ended the song saying that the last person that came to his street got killed. With lyrical content this dark, violent, and frankly self-incriminating, it's hard to believe that King Von would go on to achieve mainstream success in the rap game. But his music was undeniably good, despite the murderous messages behind it. He genuinely had a talent for taking these dark experiences he'd had in the streets and making them into songs that painted a vivid picture. And celebrities would soon begin discovering his music and promoting it without a full appreciation of the stories behind the songs. Von would end up getting a huge career boost when basketball star LeBron James' son, Bronny, would jam out to Von's original anthem, Crazy Story, with Bronny even passing Von's music to his father, who reportedly would end up becoming a fan of playing Von's music during his workouts. While Von spent close to 2 months in jail in connection for the attempted murder in Atlanta, he would spend some of that time behind bars writing some of the biggest songs of his career. And when he got out, he would go on the run of a lifetime, taking over the rap game with his new songs and buzzing reputation as a real shooter. Priming fans for the upcoming release of his debut mixtape, Grandson Volume 1, Von promoted it with an Instagram post pondering if the people he killed spirits follow him around until he dies, and also tweeting that by the time people work out what he's done, it will be too late and his mixtape will be out. The tape's lead single, What It's Like, dropped on September the 2nd, 2019, and the music video for that song would feature that video of his ops saying that he was responsible for the killing of Can't Get Right, as well as footage from his arrest in O-Block and courtroom footage from the Atlanta case with Lil Durk. This song is an introspective and deep track about what it's really like living the gang life in Chicago. Von would rap about getting to jail and being given knives to defend himself, ops trying to work out who killed their friends, and rapping that when he was in jail, he caught somebody who killed one of his friends and beat them up, even saying that he was in jail with D. Rose, that same shooter who was allegedly at the scene of the Lil Mark murder with Von, rapping that he was there in a cell when D. Rose got sentenced to 40 years in prison for a 2014 murder of a teenager, with Von rapping that witnessing D. Rose get sentenced to all of these years really hurt his soul. Von would end that song with a heartfelt outro, saying that the same cops that locked up his friends D. Rose, C-Day, and Rondo No. 9 told him that they were out to get him too after he caught his murder in 2014. Von said that the cops were trying to catch him and his friends like it was a game, but really, this was just Von taunting those cops who were never able to catch him for the things he'd allegedly done. Ironically, just the day after dropping a song about the cops trying to arrest him, the cops would arrest Von for battery on September the 3rd, 2019, after apparently beating up a man who called his girlfriend Asian Doll a bitch in the studio, with Von admitting openly on Instagram Live that he just beat somebody up for his girlfriend.
Somebody called my girlfriend a bitch today. Tell him what happened to my hand, bro.
Folks overbeat his ass.
Von would be in jail and not posting to his own Twitter account for just over a month, but while he was inside, his music kept on releasing, all in the lead up to his Grandson Volume 1 mixtape. On September the 10th, 2019, Von would appear on a song called For a Fact with another rapper called Sim Santana. And on this song, Von would rap that he's killed and would do it again, as well as a lyric where he says that all of his bodies are headshots and that tweeting about the murders has attracted the attention of the cops, as well as lines about catching ops and killing them by bus stops, seemingly a reference to the death of Little Mark. But it would be 3 days later when Von would bless the fans with the song that they had been truly waiting for, as Crazy Story Part 3 was finally released. This was another op-shooting, storytelling anthem, and the most significant release leading up to September 19, when his Grandson Volume 1 mixtape would come out. This was a roaring debut for Von, with the project landing at number 75 on the Billboard 200. And this project had some crazy song concepts, like the track F Your Man, which is a love song, where Von raps about seducing a woman with a boyfriend and vowing to kill him for her, along with numerous lyrics about killing ops and catching bodies, as well as shooting up funerals. He also had another song with Lil Durk called Twin Nem, where Durk says that Von shoots people and that they got caught shooting on camera with no masks on, seemingly a reference to their Atlanta shooting case. Von raps outright that he tries to kill people, ironically saying that he can't speak on what he's doing because the feds are watching him, whilst rapping about what he's doing on his Billboard charting mixtape. He also had the pop rap love song No Flaws, where he sings to a woman about how dangerous and handsome he is. He also had a song Mama's Boy, where he says that his mother is who raised him into the robbing savage that he is today. He also references beating up K.I. on the train on this song. Von was putting out a lot of bold statements on this project, and surprisingly, with all of this coming out whilst he was still behind bars.
Freedom. Freedom is why I love doing apartment deals, just like the one you're seeing on the screen now. And the good news, man, I'm not special. When you meet me, you'll understand.
Eventually, Von would get out of jail on October the 10th, 2019, being released and returning to Twitter immediately, continuing to push and promote his new mixtape, as well as announcing that he would be going on tour to perform his new hits live. And Von would go on to play huge shows with his fans going crazy, and he would waste no time beginning to tease new music soon after his mixtape dropped. Specifically, the first single of his next project, titled 2 AM, a song where Von rapped the brazen lyric, "Can't put no more guns in my videos because the ATF and DEA know they ain't props." And after this release, Von would claim to be receiving multi-million-dollar record deal offers. But while Von was getting more and more famous, so too were the rumors of him being a real killer, and his incriminating lyrics weren't helping matters either. During this period, it seemed like Von would simultaneously be claiming to have really done all of these murders in his music, but then at other times being desperately trying to convince his following that he never did anything. On his November 29th release, the song Rollin' with fellow rapper and accused double murderer YNW Melly, Von would rap that he has killed so many people they should call him Rambo, and saying, "I did it, but it wasn't me," which perfectly sums up his attitude during this time, jumping on songs and saying over and over again that he really is the killer they say he is, and then jumping on Twitter to say that he would never do anything like the rumors say he did. He would tweet after this release saying that somebody is trying to send him to jail every day. And in December, Von would appear prominently on Lil Durk's Family Over Everything compilation album for his OTF record label, with the front cover of this project ironically resembling a suspect board for a criminal investigation, with Von positioned as an underboss under Lil Durk. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if the feds just downloaded this image and added it to the case file. But a few days later, on December the 14th, 2019, Von does a post on social media saying that he is all these dead people want to talk about in heaven. Rest in piss to the goofies. I wouldn't be the savage I am today if it wasn't for y'all. It seemed like Von was really getting more and more comfortable saying that he was a killer publicly. The following week, on December the 21st, 2019, Von does a feature for the rapper Lil Loaded where he raps that he put that boy in a box. But not long after this song dropped, Von would go live on Instagram in the car telling fans that he has bodies, and even going as far as to ask them to guess how many people he's killed, and asking the fans if they think that it's more than 5 bodies, and even seemingly swearing on O.D. Perry's life that he has killed more than 5 people.
Body into a top. And I got a lot of bodies. Tell them I got a lot, BJ.
They know.
Just free, how many I think? Let me stop playing. Nah, you can't.
Hey, look.
What y'all think? Right.
What y'all think? Oh, y'all think his ass all cap?
More than 5.
Well, y'all think his ass all cap?
More than 5?
Maybe he cap.
I'll take it out. I'll take it to out.
Oh, yeah, he's talking.
Oh, more than 5. Ah, shut up.
Saying numbers.
They put numbers up there. They put numbers up there. No, I'm just playing, man. We trying to stop playing.
Really talk. You know.
Y'all
get off that scary shit, y'all.
Hey, what band is that?
Y'all getting scary. Stop being so scary.
They go, get out! Okay, damn!
Von was either feeling invincible or just being completely reckless. He would tweet a couple of days after Christmas 2019, beat the odds time and time again without doing no funny stuff. Stayin' 10 toes. I done chased and beat up the guys that you were claiming was gangster. I got fans all over the states. One of the realest and rawest people you'll ever meet. You're welcome. As well as saying F his dead ops. Going into 2020, Von was still winning, tweeting that it now costs $20,000 to book him for a show, and then announcing a huge booking opening for G Herbo on his PTSD tour. Clearly stacking that paper, in February, Von was going live in the bank, making a large deposit, impressing the bank manager.
Posting that crazy. What's up, man? You good? Yeah, good. They feed me. Ain't nobody with you, is it? On his ass. Nobody's safe.
But soon Von's bank account was about to go to the next level, because at the end of February, he would release one of the biggest songs of his career, his hit track, Took Her to the O. Another storytelling type track with a catchy chorus where Von shouts out O Block. But this time, it wasn't some random made up story. This was a song all about him meeting a woman who leads him to his rival from Tuckerville turned rapper, FBG Duck. Von ends the song saying that he shoots Duck, literally rapping that he killed him and left him on the curb, with this supposedly fictional FBG Duck murder scenario being reenacted in the music video of the song too. The day that Von released the video, he would tweet saying that everything he says in his music is made up and that he's just rapping to make money for his family. And I'll be honest, I believe this is where we see Von's psychopathic tendencies really shining. Not only had he seemingly killed people and occasionally attempted to deny it on Twitter, but this time he had actually made a whole song and an entire narrative music video about him personally killing FBG Duck. This is someone he had openly been embroiled in a deadly feud for around a decade with at this point. Von was literally making videos telling the story of how he was going to kill FBG Duck, all while claiming on Twitter that his lyrics were just entertainment, but apparently they weren't. Because allegedly behind the scenes, Von had put $100,000 of his hard-earned rap money up as a bounty on FBG Duck's head. This is the kind of behaviour that makes me feel King Von really was a serial killer, because no amount of success in the rap game was enough for him to stop killing people. Instead, his compulsion to kill, or at least to commission killings, was just too strong. He would continue to allegedly use his resources to have people killed behind the scenes, all while attempting to maintain a somewhat clean public image, despite all of the music that he was releasing celebrating murder.
There's some things that you may not know about me.
There's stuff I haven't told you too. There are only 2 people on this planet who know we did, and we're taking it to the grave.
The video for Took Her to the O would get 1 million views in 24 hours, and at this point Von was really one of the hottest prospects in the rap game, and fans would be hungry for his next full-length release, which came on March the 6th, 2020, when he dropped his new mixtape, LeVon James, named after the famed NBA legend LeBron James, who had become a fan of Von's music along with his son. And Von would troll his ops by even purchasing a promotional billboard for the project on 63rd, as well as releasing Not From 63rd merchandise. Unfortunately for Von, however, the project itself would end up debuting precisely at number 63rd on the Billboard charts. Sometimes I see stuff like this and I just feel like it must have been God just making fun of Von for all of the bad things he did in his life. Because this was his biggest career achievement, but you know he must have been furious to have ended up charting at the one number that he despises. And Von would never even publicly acknowledge or tweet the chart performance of this mixtape, probably for that reason that it went 63rd. But landing at 63rd on Billboard was still a great performance for a relatively new artist with such violent and raw content. The project itself would be laced with more aggressive drill anthems, like the track Down Me with Lil Durk, where Von raps about getting doctors to bring people back to life so he can kill them again, and killing so many ops that the surviving ones don't have any friends left. There would also be the song Broke Ops, where he seemed to reference calling for the hit on Can't Get Right. Then there was the track Don't Wanna Be Me, where Von explains that his mindset growing up had to be either him or me. He'd reminisce on hearing gunshots the night he moved into O Block as a child, and his experience growing up around killers and criminals and having to fight every day. He would rap about being devastated at the loss of his right-hand man T-Roy, and explaining how losing Sherroid, OD, and Platoon turned him into a killer in 2012, ultimately describing the gory details of the bloody couple of months of killing that he was allegedly involved in 2014. And during this time, Von also begun to post pictures of his friends from O Block posing with large wads of cash and referring to them as Get Back Gang Entertainment, further blurring the lines between the music and the real gang killing people in the streets. A week later, Von would appear on his girlfriend Asian Doll's song Pull Up. a track with jaw-dropping lyrics where Von claimed to have killed 7 people in total at this point, saying that if he catches 3 more, he's at double digits. A day after that released, Von would tweet that girls hook up with him just so that they can say that they were with a killer. Next, he appeared on the song Get Back Mode with O-Block veteran Boss Top, where he rapped that he was stacking up bodies like Tetris. All of these murder anthems were doing numbers, and the money was rolling in for Von. He would graduate from buying his mother Gucci purses, soon flexing on Twitter that he had just bought her a brand new Mercedes and large suburban home. Von's career was going from strength to strength, and he was showing no signs of letting up. On April the 29th, 2020, he would drop his new single, Grandson for President, coming with lyrics where he says that they're trying to blame him for all the unsolved murders in his city. He'd rap that he's trying to kill all of the ops, and he would end his verse saying that he could kill you by rapping on the beat, or by shooting you in the street. And Von would promote the music video for this song on Instagram, adding a caption with 7 skulls, asking people how many they have, sparking speculation that this was him cryptically telling the world once again that he had killed 7 people to promote this song. A few days later, he appeared on the song Body Count with Mozzie and G Herbo, rapping that if you have a few bodies, everyone will know. A couple of days later, Von would tweet that he can't get a job now because he has more bodies than Tay-K, a teenage rapper who got 55 years for murder. Von would also tweet that he's done more hits than made hit songs. And then, on May 21st, 2020, a vlog was released which showed Von going back to O-Block, aka Parkway Gardens, to hand out wads of cash to his gang. And it would later emerge that Von was providing drugs and guns to his old hood, and splitting the rewards with his crew, providing them with jewelry and luxury vacations in exchange for their work in the streets. Von clearly didn't care about broadcasting his activities to the world, and eventually, people began to take notice. On May the 22nd, YouTuber Trap Geek releases an iconic video on King Von titled The Soft-Spoken Assassin. This video essentially broke down Von's violent past and his rise to the top of the rap game.
One murder of a kid named Modell, allegedly, according to the internet detectives on Reddit, has King Von's name written all over it.
And Von didn't seem to initially appreciate the attention, tweeting that the videos these white people are all making about him aren't true, and calling them the cops, or 12. However, a month later, Von seemed to have a change of heart, and he would actually begin to use that nickname that Trap Geek gave him as a caption on his Instagram, declaring himself to be a soft-spoken assassin. 2 days later, Von tweeted that he still has people on his list, presumably referring to a list of people he still wants to kill. And it seems that the biggest name at the very top of that list was FBG Duck. Von had been going back and forth with Duck since high school and had a years-long grudge against him. He'd had a Twitter exchange with Duck the day before he'd allegedly killed KI, who was a close friend of Duck's, an exchange where Von said that he was also looking for Duck. In fact, a couple of months after King Von had released the music video for Took Her to the O, that video where he played out his fantasy of killing Duck, Duck would go live saying that he beat up Von on the school bus back in the day.
Beat your ass on the bus on Tuga.
Duck would also tell Von that he's only famous because of Lil Durk.
You come up under Durk. When y'all get mixing as Lil Durk homies.
But here's where things get chilling, because as Duck continues to mock Von in what seems to be a disrespectful, but at least not entirely death-threatening way, Von would pop up, following along live and demonically commenting on Duck's Instagram names of people that Get Back Gang had seemingly killed, and continuing to insult him throughout the entire live. It seemed like Von was plotting on having Duck killed for years. In November 2018, King Von would be on live, apparently in Lil Durk's Atlanta home, expressing his desire to see FBG Duck dead, saying that he would perform at his funeral whilst eating some cereal.
Yeah, cereal be busting so. They say King Von featuring FBG Duck.
I said that's what they want to see, huh?
Stop that, man. I'll perform at his funeral.
What if I told you you could get approved up to $6,000 with bad credit, and all you have to do...
We now know that Von had allegedly put up a $100,000 bounty on FBG Duck's head, and funnily enough, Von tweeted throughout his career that his main goal was simply to make $100,000. And when Von was finally rich, less than a month before Duck was killed, he would tweet, "Von got the money, so Von gonna pay it to his brothers." And he would also later rap on the song Me and Doody Low that he gave out 100 so you can bet that they're coming. In July 2020, Von would also show off O-Block chains that he had purchased for his friends from the famous hip-hop jewelry store Icebox, something that we now know may well have been an incentive provided to Von's shooters to continue to catch bodies for him. And soon, we would see the tragic reality of this situation playing out on the streets of Chicago in real time. On the afternoon of August 4th, 2020, FBG Duck is shopping in the Gold Coast, a place that's been described as the Rodeo Drive of Chicago, a high-end and high-profile tourist shopping district. After being given Duck's location, 6 shooters were sent from O-Block to kill him. They were Charles Liggins, aka C-Murder, to Carlos Offord, aka Los Munna, Marcus Smart, aka Muwop, Christopher Thomas, aka C-Thang, Kenneth Robertson, aka Kenny Mack, and Zell.
Marcus Smart ain't hard. I know Marcus Smart ain't happy with that. Oh, he ain't happy with that. He's like, oh, that's not me.
Christopher Thomas, aka C-Thang, Kenneth Robertson, aka Kenny Mack, and Zell Munna. After being provided with his location, 2 vehicles end up 30 minutes away from O-Block, pulling up to the location where Duck had been shopping. Then, at about 4:37 PM, Duck would be confronted outside of the Dolce & Gabbana store by a group of masked individuals hopping out of 2 cars and opening fire on Duck in broad daylight. A man and a woman who were standing with Duck at the time of the shooting were both injured, but fortunately survived, and someone would even post a 12-minute video depicting the crime scene immediately after Duck's death, with Duck being seen writhing in pain on the ground in the final moments of his life. Once again, this situation just drives home the destruction these killers were so willing to inflict on the streets that they lived in and to the fellow citizens who lived there with them.
I'm in the Gold Coast right now. They shot FBG Duck, man. I don't know who shot him, man. I just ran into this, y'all. Man. They shooting in the Gold Coast of Chicago, bro. Chicago is not a safe place to be. You cannot even go downtown and enjoy your day without violence, bro. Look at this, bro. Look at this, bro. That's a Chicago rapper, man, by the name of FBG Duck.
After Duck's passing, this brazen, broad daylight hit would make international news, with reporters comparing the killing to a Chicago mob boss hit from the 30s.
On August 4th, 2020, it looked like an old-time outfit attack here on Chicago's Oak Street. 2 attack cars, 4 shooters, and a hail of bullets. But the target wasn't a 1930s gangster. He was a new millennium rapper, FBG Duck.
It would appear that only 7 minutes after the killing of FBG Duck, King Von would tweet a goat emoji, seemingly congratulating himself for pulling off a hit that he had wanted to do for more than 10 years. This was quite possibly the 9th murder that King Von was responsible for, and the 11th that he had allegedly been connected to. And perhaps Von soon realised that he shouldn't be celebrating this one too hard, because the following day he would tweet denying being involved and saying that everybody blames him. Von would later tweet that him and Duck settled their differences before his death, suggesting that they were even going to make a song together. This to me seems like an obvious lie, once again showcasing the psychopathic tendencies that King Von had when it came to killing. In public, he would say anything he could to take the heat off himself and appear innocent, but behind closed doors, he had allegedly plotted, paid for, and was celebrating Duck's murder. Von and other O-Block affiliates would go on to release song after song referencing the murder of Duck. The day after Duck's death, King Von and Durk dropped their new song, All These N-Words, a track which doesn't have any specific lyrics pertaining to Duck, but in it, Von would rap about having bodies from way back, and the song's release essentially served as a victory lap for Von, Durk, and anyone else who would have been happy about Duck's demise. OTF's Doody Low would reference people getting killed whilst shopping on the song Me and Doody Low with King Von saying outright on the track that he gave out 100,000 and sent his boys coming, as well as saying that somebody got left shot in public before being rushed to the hospital. With these 4 lines of rapping, Von essentially broke down the entire hit and the price he'd allegedly paid for it to happen. Von would also rap on the song Don't Miss with DQ that Duck got nailed, no hammers, as well as lyrics that seemingly refer to the funeral shooting and the killings of Modell and Doc. On the posthumously released track Shameless remix with Boss Top, Von would also rap that he's ducking no beef, and even Lil Durk would later release the song Should've Ducked, dissing FBG Duck and saying that he's smoking him. Lil Durk would take things to the next level, even joking with country music star and collaborator Morgan Wallen that he loved duck hunting. This would lead to Wallen posting duck emojis on Durk's post and later being forced to apologise after being informed that he'd actually been tricked into dissing Lil Durk's dead ops. After FBG Duck was killed, it seemed like King Von and his team truly felt invincible. And pretty much from here until the day he died, King Von didn't seem to care who knew about the killings he was allegedly responsible for. In his music and on social media, he would troll endlessly and hint towards him and his friends being real killers, seemingly oblivious or just not caring that the whole world was beginning to learn what he had done. In August, Von is on Instagram Live with DQ from O-Block saying that there's no more FBG.
All that dissing or saying something or even acting like y'all with some that y'all know for sure ain't with, I'ma smack that on y'all. I ain't gonna play like that. Then we know y'all ain't gangsta, y'all on the internet. We know y'all ain't gangsta, y'all ain't trying to do that. Ain't no more FB. Ain't that right, Big DQ? Ain't that right? Von would also tweet that he knows the police have his phone tapped and that all they'll find out is that he gives people money every day. Money for what though, Von? Von would also go on to tweet that 63rd was no more, and another saying you heard what they say I did, but I did worse,
indicating that Von had done even more crimes that the public didn't know about. After this, we would see one famous example of King Von's crimes catching up with him in the music industry. He had actually been booked to perform at rap music festival Rolling Loud in 2020. However, the pandemic of 2020 would shut that down and see the festival unable to go ahead in person. So instead, Rolling Loud would end up hosting a digital live stream event with rappers in September of 2020. And as part of this event, King Von would be interviewed in a shocking segment where the hosts were asking him questions that had been sent in from the comments, with some bright Chiracologist submitting a question to the unsuspecting hosts, who would read it, asking Von if he would ever collab with names of people he was rumoured to have killed. With Von even being so amused by this question bringing up his old bodies, he would even go and find his trusty shooter Muwop, putting his face on camera to show the reaction to these clueless interviewers dissing their dead enemies.
They want to know if you do a feature with Modell, P5, Malcolm. You know them? Nah. Alright, never mind. He already told us about Tuka. He said Tuka one of his favorites to work with.
Yo, that's
They want to know about the Gleesh Place video.
Oh, Gleesh Place coming soon. And I do a feature with all of them. Tell them just send them money.
Yeah, we need that bag. 100 racks. 100 racks of feet.
Oh, wow. They got it.
Wow.
My boy charging 100 racks.
Don't get me started on this. I be ticking. Y'all don't know me. Y'all don't know. I be tricking on this. Say the names who went through the features again.
He'd have to scroll up. I can't even see that.
Y'all listen to the names he said want to do the feature.
We'll get a clip of it and we'll send it to you.
Alright, tell me the names. Listen to the names he said want to do a feature with.
They want to know if you'd ever do a song with Young and Ace, Jada Youngin, and K. I don't know who that K artist.
No, say the other names you said.
You gotta scroll up so I can read that. Can you do that for me? Yeah. Hold on. It was. No, scroll up a little more, a little more. If you do a feature with Modell, Tyreek, P5, or Malcolm.
Look out, folks, look.
That's a no, right? I'm assuming that's a no.
They're dead.
Hey, supposed to talk to you on some police.
I don't even. Who are those? Am I supposed to know who they are?
Man, them people is dead. You bogus. Now I'm just left. What's that? Let's go to the next question.
No, that's crazy. They had me violate like that.
Hey, you with that? Fuck 63rd. Now I'm just left.
The day after this, Von would tweet saying, "Who wants clout? If you diss Von, he will put you in the clouds." Possibly another reference to FBG Duck's murder, whose nickname was of course Big Clout. A day after this, Von would take to Instagram Live, saying that he's tired of people judging him because of YouTube videos about him.
Yeah, I think y'all know me because I watch YouTube and y'all listen to what these people telling y'all stupid on. Oh, yeah? Y'all listen to what the people telling y'all. Them people trying to make bad wham. Them people trying to make a over them. It's cool. If they had to do, motherfucker, I do what they got to do. Y'all don't know me. I ain't on no super tough, no super gangster. That's just what's going on. That's what I am. That's what's going on. So I'm laughing, I'm smiling around here, because I'm super gangster.
This was an epic Instagram Live where Von would go in depth on a lot of things, showcasing both sides of his personality. He would say that he's really a gangster like the videos say, but that he's also smiling about it because it makes him laugh, before also reminding fans not to play with him because he really is dangerous.
I'm super gangster. I'm like that, but I ain't on that. You see what I'm saying? I'm smiling, I'm playing with y'all. But don't play with me like that. I don't play with nobody like that for real.
King Von would tell his fans that him and his O-Block homie Louis kill their ops.
Kenya la op. Dick sucking ass on King Dave. Got to fucking with them niggas on King Dave, okay? Don't trip. We ain't even gonna talk about that no more. I wish Louis would rah. Not as rah. Look at Louis Goop.
At this point, Von is seemingly hyped up and begins to ask the audience which ops he should talk about.
Man, who has to talk about it? I'm on the road today. I'll put my right out there today. Who to talk about? Drop a name on my.
Von goes on to say that people are just mad because he's tough and handsome, and because he knows that he did violent things to people who were in the comments on this live, with Von even going as far as to say to his viewers if he did something to you or your family, comment below and he will pin it.
Man, you be hating. I know you be hating on me. I know you be hating. I look like this and I'm tough like I am. Ah, yeah. That shit hurt. And I did on her. I seen I did too. Yeah. That shit hurt. I got to send y'all name on it. Y'all gonna get looking. I got to comment and I'ma pin y'all if I did something to you. Let's see how far this guy. So be you ain't do shit to me. My cousin maybe. Or if I did something to somebody, nah, this man. We making this street look good. Man, this street all bad on King Dale. I done lost everybody on phone, you hear me? Everybody dying, everybody in jail, everybody dead. I'm paying the lawyer. You know.
Von was really careless during this period of his life. He really comes across as if he never thought he would get caught, or as if he simply didn't realise that the whole world was listening to him. He would continue to tweet, saying that he would be ready to drop soon, and asking fans what they want him to drop, a song or an op. Then on the 4th of October, another Instagram live of Von would surface, showing Von getting off a plane with one of the shooters accused of killing Duck, Muwop, with Von even telling fans that Muwop has all type of bodies.
This Muwop, he crazy. He got all type of bodies. No, just player. Come on, Muwop. My mama, come on. My bodyguard. Come on, bodyguard.
On October the 9th, Von drops the song I Am What I Am with Fabio Foreign, rapping more lyrics seemingly referencing the murder of FBG Duck, aka Big Clout. The same day, Von would tweet, bragging to have done everything people say they did in the streets, and in Von's case, getting away with it. Then, on October the 14th, 2020, Von releases a song called Slide with another rapper called Yak Yola. This song is a reinterpretation of FBG Duck's own hit song of the same name, Slide. But of course, Von would use his version of Slide to mock Duck. 2 days after that, he would tweet the word duck with a love heart and a picture of himself ducking his head down. Clearly, all of Von's brazen activities in the streets and online were indeed making him the target of an investigation, because also in October, Von is at the airport when he was seen on social media being searched by the police and getting angry about the fact that he was being targeted.
I can get your ID one more time?
Take a picture of my badge.
Now, y'all want to search me for what? I can get yours, sir? This is real quick. You took a picture of my ID, man.
You already took a picture, man. Keep it moving.
What y'all trying to search me for?
You're blocking the path for
other
passengers to get through, so you gotta keep moving.
Police all on my dick. What the f wrong with these people? They took me out and searched my bed for some drugs, all type of. Hey, matter of fact, look. This took a picture of my ID, got my address and everything. This man, I don't know this man. You see what I'm saying? You can remember his face. King Dog, bald head up. I don't know what the f going on. I got plenty of time out.
Von would share a picture of the officer who searched him to Instagram, even tagging superstar hip-hop lawyer Drew Findling, who also defended Donald Trump. But clearly, Von wasn't worried, because the same day that footage was going around, he would also tweet that he has bodies from way back, perhaps taunting those very cops who were stopping him at the airport trying to solve these murders. Around this time, King Von would also do an interview where he seemed to suggest that he was making the most of his career because he knew the cops would eventually work out what he'd done and put him away.
I'm trying to go crazy real quick, but the feds come.
But not one to let some meddling cops get in the way of his booming rap career. A couple of days later, Von would drop his debut studio album, Welcome to O-Block, on October the 30th, 2020, a date which coincidentally was the anniversary of T-Roy's birthday and the murder of P5. Welcome to O-Block had some bold songs, where Von would hint further at the crimes he'd allegedly committed, and ironically, the very first lyric of that album would see Von admitting that the cops are onto him. By this point, Von's lyricism was the sharpest it had ever been, and he really did have a talent for using music to communicate the dark reality behind the life that he had lived. Another line on that opening track, Armed and Dangerous, really stuck out to me, where Von raps that he has inflicted tragedies, massacres, and casualties on his ops, admitting that he did a lot of things to people that he can't remember, but he knows that they remember him. He would reminisce on October 2012 when he had allegedly killed numerous people, rapping that people were dying all of October, and that it's the real Halloween. There was also the track Demon, where Von would open up about becoming a killer after the death of his friend White White, a track featuring a lyric where he claimed to have killed 7 people, saying bodies I got a few, 4 plus 3, 3 plus 2. This is a line a lot of people assumed meant 7 kills and 5 assists, or killings that he was present for. But my interpretation of this would actually be that it's Von saying that he killed 7 people personally before he became a rapper, and 5 people who were killed by his crew, either while he was allegedly present, like in the case of Lil Mark, or allegedly on his orders, like would have been the case with FBG Duck. Hell, some people would even count Dusky to King Von's body count, because after all, Von would claim that he was smoking Dusky after his death, having tweeted not long before that you can only smoke somebody if you had something to do with killing them. If you include that, that would make a full 12 bodies that King Von has been associated with over the years. Combine that with the fact that Von would end this song by boldly saying F FBG Duck, then I think it becomes pretty clear that he's trying to take responsibility for this killing. Another song on the album called The Code would see King Von rapping about splitting $100,000 with his team and being goated, a line that hits different when you know that he allegedly paid $100,000 to have Duck killed and tweeting a goat emoji immediately after the murder took place. Von would only be alive for around a week following the release of this project, but recording numerous songs and freestyles that referenced his alleged murders, like King Von's Audio Mac Bless the Booth 3 style, where he straight up rapped that he had 7 bodies. On the 2nd of November, he would tweet that people want to kill him with a yawning emoji. Clearly, Von was not scared. In fact, one of the very last things that Von did was an interview with DJ Akademiks, and a big part of this interview was the discussion of Von's beefs. Akademiks would press Von about his earlier tweets, suggesting that Von had been lying about him and FBG Duck squashing their beef, with Von denying that he was lying and suggesting that somebody else had deleted their DMs.
You know you and Duck didn't make up. His mom came out. They said you and Duck.
Gang, how you gonna tell? See that this ain't right. Gang, how y'all gonna say that?
His mom said that would never happen.
His mama was not there. I ain't never met his mama. I don't know his mama. You see what I'm saying? I've talked to him. You see what I'm saying? And then they deleted all our DMs, so I can't show them the. I don't know why they do that.
From here, a flustered King Von would try and sidestep his past beef with Duck, saying that they just went to school together.
They just make it look real crazy to y'all. These just really people we all went to school with.
That shit do look crazy to me. I kid you not.
That's how they make it. But then,
like, yo,
you gotta understand, like you said, they right there down the street. We went to school. It ain't that serious, you know. And then, you know, it's just that we ain't cool no more. It was, you know, but it ain't that serious. Like, it's to the point where let's talk about it. It ain't. Both of us rapping, we can figure something out. We need to stop all the violence, all the shit. That shit. We got a voice, you see what I'm saying? Like, if we tell Chicago far back, tell Chicago far back.
Eventually, Akademiks would ask Von how he felt when he heard about Duck's death, and Von would start slowly eating cereal, saying that he was hurt by Duck's death in an incredibly unconvincing manner.
Were you saddened by the news that he was murdered then?
Man, that shit hurt. I ain't even go to sleep at night. I can't believe that.
At a certain point, Von tells Akademiks to hold on. He would then point the camera away from his face, and we would hear what sounds like Von and his friends laughing off camera. And before Von came back on camera, for a very brief moment, we got a glimpse of Von's friend from O Block, BJ, laughing in the background.
Hold on, man. Oh, let's talk about some other shit though.
Let's
talk about some other shit though.
I can't help but notice the fact that Von is eating cereal whilst discussing the killing of Duck.
Wait, you eat just cereal straight out of the box, no milk?
I'm a gangster.
I've said it before that I believe Von was a serial killer, but honestly, he's mentioned cereal so many times during his career, it really wouldn't surprise me if this was some kind of cryptic message that he was using to signal to fans that he saw himself as a serial killer, with Duck as his latest victim. He would strangely tweet about how much he loves his cereal after a series of alleged murders in 2012, even tweeting that eating cereal is the first thing he does after shooting someone. He would promote Dirk's cereal whilst they were both on the run from the Atlanta shooting at the Varsity, telling people on Twitter to buy the cereal whilst waving a clip of a gun, and regularly posting himself on social media eating cereal. And he would also be eating cereal when he told the world that he wanted to perform at FBG Duck's funeral.
Yeah, cereal be busting, sure. They say King Von featuring FBG Duck.
I said that's what they want to see, huh?
Stop that, man. I'll perform at his funeral.
Then, when we finally saw the actual murder of FBG Duck and Akademiks asked him about it, at that very moment, Von would decide to start eating cereal too. Maybe it's a stretch, but that day when Akademiks called Von, he probably knew he would be asked about FBG Duck, and he made sure to have that box of cereal within arm's reach so that the whole world would see him crunching on cereal at that exact moment. Sadly for Von, soon after this interview, he would end up on the other side of the gun, getting shot himself and ultimately losing his life. But in a final twist of irony, it would turn out that despite being connected to so many murders in his home city, Von would seemingly end up losing his life in an altercation in another state, and as a result of a petty rap beef that had nothing to do with his violent past in the street.
Biore blemish patches. Absorb pus and oil for visible results.
Throughout King Von's career, he was connected to a female rapper by the name of Asian Doll, with fans often speculating on whether their supposed relationship was genuine or simply a fake celebrity romance for clout. Apparently, Asian met King Von just after Lil Durk had signed to the same label as her, with the label arranging a celebrity basketball game where Durk would bring Von onto the court whilst Asian Doll was on the sidelines.
This the first time I saw we was in just the basket. It's out here. We was in New York. I seen little booty over there in the square. Look. You know, I ain't saying nothing to her. She was looking decent and she was looking good. Well, I ain't saying nothing to her. She was right there hooping and shit. Then they ain't had no jewelry and all that shit, no money like that. So I'm like, she had a big ass Gucci glasses, Gucci this and Gucci that. And we was playing basketball against Meek and them, me and Durk.
Dirk had just got signed to my label, Alamo. So they're like, Asian, we having a celebrity basketball game. Do you want to do it? I'm like, hell yeah. I'll play basketball because they know I used to play basketball. So when they told me who to play, they like Meek Mill, Dirk. But so I remember Bones playing basketball. They playing, we sitting on the side. He was playing so much rough. I'm like, why the f is he so rough? He was playing rough, y'all. Like, he was rough. Like, he was jumping up. He was doing all type of rough shit. He probably was trying to show out the whole time for me. I ain't know. I'm looking at his ass like he crazy.
Apparently, King Von would see Asian Doll again in the studio and at a release party with Lil Durk, where they would flirt and eventually agree to go on a date.
But then I see her again at the studio. She did a feature with Durk. And I'm steady flirting with her, trying to talk to her. She left and shit. Then I see her again. Now I'm fake drunk at the release party for Durk album. I see her, but I ain't know she was fake talking to somebody else right there. But I'm on her. I'm off the the liquor and shit. So I'm grabbing her hand, trying to talk to her.
Von just kept bothering me, and then I'm just like, bro, who is this boy? He just kept bothering me, bro, bothering me. We walking out, y'all. I don't even know this man. This man got his hand around my waist. I'm like, whoa.
Nah, I take Durk's phone, I get in his DM, like, talk to my brother. Ooh. And then she ain't talking to Dirk. Him. Oh, man, talk to my brother. Ooh, I'm taking that DM and shit.
It's him. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm like, no. I said no a million times. No, bitch. I said no so much I got tired of saying no. I'm like, let me go on a date with you. As soon as I said okay, this man Von called me in seconds.
She sent the number and I was saying she live in Atlanta. Now, when I go to the crib, now Durk out of town. He left his truck in my car. He got a track car. That raw. So I got Durk's car today. So I go pick up and I tell her I'm going to take her out and
King Von would actually pick up Asian for their first date in Lil Durk's Jeep Trackhawk, the very same truck that they caught their attempted murder charge in Atlanta. But in the end, the date between Asian Doll and King Von was apparently a success.
You know I ain't slow. I knew the Durk car. I ain't thinking, oh my God, he got a car. They got 300 on it. I'm like, that's Durk car. Because I had already seen Durk post the car. But it was so cute because I'm like, these sticking together, that's crazy. They like, Durk helping him out, letting him to the car for the weekend just so it can impress me.
So I got a little money. I only had I was up at the time, I had like $600 in my shit. And a little outfit, a nice little outfit. I put that on. Took some of Durk cologne and shit. Took his car and shower and go pick up, took out to eat and shit.
So he came pick me up. He kept calling, making sure I was gonna get ready. He like, get ready. After the day you get cold. So he had his jacket on. He was trying to give me his jacket, but he was cold. So I just got under his jacket with him. And then it's like my chest touched his chest, our hearts touched each other's hearts. Everything just connected when I hugged him after the first date. And then we went to the house.
They would make a connection and eventually make their relationship official. Asian Doll would even release a song called Grandson about King Von on Valentine's Day 2019, with him appearing in the music video. In a March 2019 interview with Lil Durk, a shy King Von would reveal publicly that he was indeed dating Asian Doll.
King Von, I'm saying he in a relationship too.
Shout out Asian Dad.
Okay.
Yeah, he go ahead, yeah.
You heard it here, man. He looking at you like, come on, man.
Sold it to they
Von would go on to drop light-hearted tweets about his super savage friends laughing at people who only knew him online as Asian Doll's boyfriend. But the two of them would indeed be an item, and she would need to deal with the baggage of dating a super savage. When Von got arrested for attempted murder, Asian would be in tears over her boyfriend's incarceration.
I've been on the plane for 20 hours. Everybody. I was crying. I miss my boyfriend, my husband, everything. But I'm better. He want me to be out here turned up, so I got all my crying out on the plane. Now I'm finna just turn up.
Von would even call Asian Doll from jail, joking that he would be beating her up when he gets home.
Free my jail. I miss him. Man, what? Talking about who I'm talking about? You. I'm always talking about you.
Always.
Always.
People always talking about me. I was catching some shit like, nah, this ain't talking about me on camera.
What? So you crazy. If it was good, yeah, I'm talking about you.
I don't get no fucking bad. That's the thing. I don't know good, bad.
If it's bad, I'm on there with yours. I'm being
Talk about
ass.
me if it's bad. Don't talk about nobody else.
Nah, I'm just gonna be ass first, ask questions later if it's bad. I ain't got time.
I'm already beating your ass when I get out. You don't even know.
You're not beating me up. We're not gonna do that.
Eventually, Von would return home and be reunited with Asian Doll, but ironically this time it would be Asian getting Von in trouble. While out on bail for that attempted murder, King Von would end up getting into a fist fight with a man in a studio who had apparently called Asian Doll a bitch, being sent back to jail for a brief period.
Somebody called my girlfriend a bitch yesterday. Tell him what happened to my hand, bro.
Overbeat his ass.
And despite Von winding up in jail for it, it would appear that Asian Doll would actually appreciate Von's protection, calling him her bodyguard on Twitter, with Von himself saying that he wishes she wasn't a rapper so that he could keep her home and protect her, saying that he doesn't trust her around other rappers.
But isn't it nice to have somebody in the same industry as you?
No, that ain't. I'd rather have. I wish I can't say I wish she wasn't a rapper, nothing like that. But it'd be better if I knew that she's at the house instead of going around all these people that ain't around and. Damn, what's going on? Now I'm just thinking, damn, what the fuck she doing? Why she ain't answering the phone?
And that's how she be feeling.
She feel the same
I just said that.
No, I understand. That's what I'm saying. Like,
I wish my nigga was in the damn house.
No.
Also, it's been times when you didn't like a nigga and she had to work with him.
I'm not gonna say nothing because you gotta be.
Feel like y'all
you gotta be for sure with yourself,
business,
man. I know I'm that. So.
Von was clearly very possessive about Asian Doll, even tweeting that he would kill somebody for messing with her. With that in mind, it's no surprise that eventually it would be another rapper that would seemingly get in between Von and Asian, and that rapper would be none other than Baton Rouge gangster rap superstar NBA Youngboy. Now, King Von had a strange relationship with Youngboy over the years. King Von would be dissing NBA Youngboy all the way back in February 2019.
You f Youngboy? Why? I'm just damn. Man, hang up on your ass. But if like you cheat, go ahead and say you f***ing, I'm gonna hang up on your ass. Don't erase it. I just play. You f***ing it up?
Yeah,
He cool,
I
right?
don't look, so I can't speak on
He ain't all that, is he, though?
What's up? What you trying to say? Like,
I'm just trying to see what you feel about the He cool.
He's straight. He's straight. He ain't better than you. He ain't better than you.
Yeah, for sure. Cause he don't be doing shit. I ain't gonna do it cause he be hating.
In March 2019, King Von would also diss Youngboy again on social media, saying that his music is full of lies.
Youngboy talking about on this song, bro.
What?
He talking crazy on this man.
Oh, yeah?
He ain't even like that.
Oh!
On his ass now.
On his
All that cap. You got cap in your raps. You got cap in your raps.
But at other times, it seemed that Von quite admired Youngboy. He'd often play his music and even tweeted welcome home to him in August when he was freed, as well as being seen on social media copying several of Youngboy's mannerisms and quotes.
Boy, as my grandma raised me, you hear me? You know I ain't no hoe. What up?
My grandma raised me. You know I ain't no hoe.
Perhaps King Von was looking to catch Youngboy lacking rather than admiring him, because clearly both Lil Durk and King Von were feeling competitive with NBA Youngboy during this period. In October 2019, Lil Durk would reply to a DJ Academics tweet claiming that NBA Youngboy was the best street rapper since the Chicago wave, with Lil Durk suggesting that Von was a realer street rapper who could actually compete with Youngboy. In February 2020, Von would tweet indicating that Youngboy was holding on to a song featuring both of them and telling him that he should release it. It would seem that Von and Asian Doll were on good terms around this time, with Von showing off a bunch of gifts and a love letter from her just a few days after Valentine's. However, by May 2020, Von would be tweeting that he was going through a rough breakup. Then, the following month, tweeting that Asian Doll was acting crazy and trying to embarrass other women. But a few days later, Von would tweet seemingly indicating that he was back on good terms with Asian Doll. Then, the following month, Von would tweet saying that he doesn't care what a woman does if it's not his girlfriend. A few weeks after that, in August, Von would tweet saying that he takes things too far when he gets mad. And tweeting saying that people won't believe the woman that he just made a hit with. That same day, images would surface of Von spending private time with the mother of NBA Youngboy's child, a woman named Jania. And later, speculation swirled that Von and her may have even created a sex tape during their time together, after King Von tweeted that he could post a video that would make somebody stop claiming their own kids. And later, King Von's sister would also indicate that she had seen a video of Jania sleeping with somebody.
I actually switched from Chrome to Opera GX a while ago just because I was so tired of Chrome being the absurd resource hog that it is and performing terribly. It's fully customizable so you can make it look as nice as you want it to and really just make it fit your aesthetic and whatever you're looking for. You can also log into Spotify.
DMs would also later circulate from somebody who was apparently with them when they met, suggesting that Von and Jania had indeed slept together, not recorded music. And Von would later rap on the song Rose Gold with PNB Rock, lyrics that seemed to suggest that somebody's baby mother was bad in bed. One of his friends, 600 Breezy, would congratulate King Von publicly for sleeping with his ops baby mother and saying Rapper K, suggesting that Von and his friends were looking to see NBA Youngboy dead. However, Jania would take to social media to deny the rumours and say that she was simply working on music with Von to make money for her son.
We walked to the table to play the little game after my studio session and I went home. That's it. Y'all trying to make stories out of nothing. I don't that man. Like I said, I don't with no nigga. I've been working. We have a song coming out. Y'all wasn't supposed to know, but it is what it is now. We have a song coming out. So when the song come out, y'all gonna with it.
Song come out?
Just know it's hard as I'm just trying to get my money to take care of my son. Period.
On top of that, DMs would also circulate suggesting that Von had indeed only worked on music with Jania to make Asian Doll mad. However, Asian would later come out and claim that the story wasn't true about them working on a song together, suggesting that she had actually found romantic DMs between Von and the mother of Youngboy's child.
Nah, I've seen that in them DMs. I've been seeing. None of this not a surprise. So all that songs, that dead. You on dick.
The day after those pictures of Von's rendezvous with Jania surfaced, Youngboy would post a picture with a caption saying that he's going to make sure that his son grows up and sleeps with King Von's daughter since he's trolling him with his baby mother. And while this was all going on, another Chicago Black Disciple rapper close to King Von, Lil Reese, was claiming to be planning to beat up NBA Youngboy's artist Quando Rondo. Quando would reply to this, saying that Reese won't do nothing. A few weeks after this, King Von would seemingly threaten Youngboy and Quando Rondo, tweeting on September the 7th, 2020, that he hopes that God has room up there for more dead people. This seemingly provoked a response from Quando Rondo's right-hand man Lil Tim the next day, who warned Von and people from Chicago about messing with Quando. And this would seemingly be followed by a response from King Von the next day, tweeting, reminding the world that he has been fighting his whole life and that he hits hard as hell. The same day that all of this is going on with Von and Jania, NBA Youngboy would drop a snippet of an unreleased song. This song later turns out to be the track Dead Trolls, and in this song, Youngboy claims, like Von, to be responsible for 7 murders, and rapping that he's going to catch someone from out of town who is chasing after a girl and kill them. Youngboy would also rap that his ops are mad because they can't get a feature from him. Perhaps a hint to a potentially uncleared collaboration between the two artists being held back by Youngboy, as one of King Von's earlier tweets seemed to suggest. Some people would later claim that this song actually predicted King Von's death, with one lyric saying that he's planning to kill someone in Atlanta after a show. But chances are, that's just a creepy coincidence. But it's no coincidence that Youngboy dropped this snippet the very day that Von was running around with the mother of his child. A day later, Von would tweet claiming not to have a girlfriend and to simply be focusing on his career. But a few days after that, Von would tease a snippet of a new song of his own, a track titled Too Real. In this song, he would rap that he's going to expose somebody, and that he's going to kill somebody because of a rap beef. Then, in September, Von would jump on Instagram Live to address his ongoing beef with NBA Youngboy, saying that he's not in beefs in the music industry and that he doesn't want to beef in other states, but also saying that he will beef people for no reason if they don't like him.
But everybody, I ain't a tour nobody, you hear me? Tour the people I've been had beef with in the streets, you know what I'm saying? I won't be a tour with nobody from all in another town. for no reason. Like, you gotta be into it with somebody for a reason. Just know we into it, gang, okay? Nah, you see what I'm saying? I'm the type of I don't gotta know why we into it or nothing. You only gotta tell me why you don't like me. Don't even tell me why you don't like me. I don't even care. Just let me know you don't like me. You see what I'm saying? Let me know how you don't like me. If that's what it is. Let me know. I'm like, alright, you know what I'm saying? Let me know. But I'm so gangster that I don't need a reason. It don't gotta be no reason. We can be into it. Like, I don't care. It don't gotta be a reason, for real. I'm into it, people. It don't gotta be no reason. I don't know why. I don't care why. But it can be that, you see what I'm saying? Well, I like to know why we into it. I like to, I need to, because I ain't no goofy. Like, what the and then I play hard. I ain't trying to lose. I can't lose to nobody. Lose to who? Who, Lloyd? Who I'ma lose to? Tell him, you've been knowing me, Lloyd. Don't I go hard at everything I do? Tell him, you came from, how you get a chain in your neck, Lloyd?
You know how.
Don't buy solar panels. Seriously. There is a very good reason why we're saying this. If you're thinking...
Clearly Von was still wanting to prod Youngboy, and despite tweeting that he still isn't doing relationships, in September, Von and his sister were seen in the club with Youngboy's baby mama once again.
2 days ago, Jania was spotted in the club with King Von's sister, and King Von was also there as well. You couldn't see them together, but you know they were together if you know.
With all of this going on, Asian Doll would be feeling the heat. At the start of October, Asian Doll would go on Instagram Live to address the situation with Youngboy and Von, denying that Von embarrassed her and saying that if she's single, then it's got nothing to do with her.
Nobody embarrassed me, gang. Y'all need to get off my dick with that. Like, nobody embarrassed me. Nobody. It's nothing nobody did to embarrass me. I was not embarrassed. Like, damn, y'all hoes mad about a tweet. Like, y'all, like, dude, don't even know you clowns. The f y'all hoes get left for me. The smack the shit out of one of you with me. You crazy. I don't get no. I'm a real bitch at the end of the day. Like I said, you would never see me sweat. You would never see me go outside behind nobody. I don't give a who you is, friend, anybody. Mind your business. When I'm single, like, that don't have nothing to do with me. I'm not stressing that shit. I'm not tweeting about nothing. They don't have to do with me, gang. Nothing. When somebody's single, so what? What they do? I don't get no. That's what y'all problem.
Von later went live on October the 11th, 2020 with Asian Doll, apparently their first live together since their breakup, with them appearing to be on fairly good terms. Also in October, King Von would begin tweeting to promote a new song called Mine Too, a song essentially dissing NBA Youngboy and saying that he's not going to beef about a girl because Youngboy's baby mama Jania is his too. He'd also have a lyric saying that he has beef in NOLA, or Louisiana where Youngboy is from, and saying that Youngboy is rapping like a gangster, but now he's got to show Von whether or not he really is a gangster. After this snippet released, Von would tweet saying once somebody has slept with a girl, he doesn't want her anymore, with this possibly being a hint towards Asian Doll moving on to NBA Youngboy, with it actually being rumoured that Asian had met up with Youngboy at some point during this time, with later DMs from people in NBA Youngboy's camp suggesting that Asian Doll had indeed hooked up with Youngboy before King Von passed away. And Asian Doll would seemingly admit to hooking up with Youngboy twice on her song No Expose It. Apparently Youngboy even had access to Asian Doll's phone and Instagram account during the time they had spent together, as he had reportedly messaged his producer through Asian Doll's Instagram account. And then, only days before King Von would end up losing his life, on November the 4th, 2020, Youngboy posted a snippet of a song that he made with Asian Doll, a song with the ominous title Meet the Reaper. Von would be seen listening to the snippet of this Youngboy and Asian Doll song, later tweeting that the song is trash, followed by yet another tweet alluding to there being a sex tape between him and NBA Youngboy's baby mother. Von would then say that him and Jania's song is way better than Asian Doll and NBA Youngboy's song, and saying that it has a better cover art, another hint that he might have had compromising pictures of Youngboy's baby mother. Then Von would backtrack, saying that he's just playing, and that if Asian Doll is happy, he's happy, but the song still sounds trash. Then rehashing the lyric from his song Mine Too, once again indicating that Asian Doll and Jania are his girl too. The day before he was killed, King Von was incredibly active on Twitter. He would diss NBA Youngboy, tweeting that rappers are pussy and that he's not one of them. He would warn people to approach him with caution, and he would say that his ops are acting gangster, but that's not what they're really like. Tweeting that he's not hurt, just retaliating to the disrespect he's received with no feelings involved, suggesting that what was going on was just entertainment, with Von eventually saying in another deleted tweet that he's going to lead by example because he's older than Youngboy, and saying that he's quitting the beef because many wars have started over a woman and that he's not beefing Youngboy. He would say that they're sharing the same women and that doesn't matter, and then in King Von's last recorded interview before his death with DJ Academics, he would touch upon his beef with NBA Youngboy since coming into the industry. Von would deny that this was a real beef, saying that they have the same girls, and the internet has just blown it out of proportion.
You know what people told me? People told me you and Youngboy was beefing or something like that. You said something about what happened, Von? What's going on with you, man?
They be saying that a lot. It's like we got the same interests in hoes, and then you know how the internet will try to make it.
Don't tell me I got problems over girls.
No, it's the internet, gang. It's the you know, they'll try to make it like that because it's the internet. You see what I'm saying? And then you know how females will try to make it like that because they females, and they'll try to make it like one hard. They try to. It be just all type of shit. But it ain't nothing too serious, nothing you should worry about.
Unfortunately for Von, things would be very serious indeed, and the very night of that final interview, King Von himself would escalate things and get more than he bargained for, and little did he know that this feud over women would end up being the beef that would take his life. Barely a week after the release of his debut album, Welcome to O-Block, King Von's story would come to an abrupt end. The week before his death, King Von would be reflecting on Instagram just how far he'd come, and reminding himself to enjoy these times, because he knew there would be hard times coming.
Going through this just losing so many people, gang. I lost so many people, man, going through this man, crazy. But now look where we at right now, you see what I'm saying? Like times like this, you gotta take it in. I just told my homie them, y'all gotta take this in, you see what I'm saying? Looking for them. I'm here with day one, this shit. And we in this winning, man. And we living on King Day. When we ain't dead and we ain't in jail. And we ain't broke. And we ain't, you know. Life, you gonna be down again. Like I'm up right now. It's gonna be times, you know, I'm gonna go through some more. I'm gonna go through some, you know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna think back to this time. I could always reflect on this time. Like, everything was going good in my life. Everything was going. That time, everything going good right now. Like right now, everything going good. I ain't got no complaints. I ain't mad about nothing. I know I done lost a shit. I don't understand a lot of shit, but I ain't even mad about it.
Sadly, the good times would end suddenly, and Von would end up losing his life at the very height of his career. His album Welcome to O-Block had debuted at the unlucky number 13 on the Billboard charts, ironically just one position above NBA Youngboy's album Top, that had already spent 8 weeks on the chart after going number 1. Then, just after midnight on the 5th of October 2020, Von would tweet his location for the evening. He was playing a show at Atlanta club Opium. Von would go live on Instagram on the way to the club, seemingly in good spirits and rapping along to his own music. He would do a live pre-show with the name of the club pinned, and he would be seen on Instagram posted up smoking hookah with his entourage of O-Block natives. He would go on to play that concert at Opium, where he would be seen jamming out on stage at the club, surrounded by his team and shouting out somebody in the crowd for wearing Not From 63rd merch, as well as dissing girls who were acting stuck up at the front of the show.
Man, I see everybody in this y'all act like y'all don't see a motherfucker, but I see a motherfucker in this bitch gang. I see you got that 63rd shirt back there, my This is blood, I got get back gang. I don't know this got the get back gang. I love it, I love you gang. Hey, you know, it's all love in this up shit. I done dropped that on that Welcome to O-Block. That going crazy. I don't want to thank everybody. You know what the going on. Stretch gang. There's a lot of bad hoes in here. I've been walking through them. Damn, it's decent shit in here. You know? Hold down. You know, we trying to party and have fun in this bitch. I ain't gonna lie. We got the little bougie. They acting bougie right here. They right here. Y'all better stop that, man. So we finna tee up. I got DJ Bands in this.
Just after 1 AM, King Von would retweet a Young and Ace lyric with a caption saying that his crew are going to catch somebody and he sees them as food. Because while King Von is performing at Opium, Quando Rondo and his entourage are fresh off recording a new music video for the song The Drop, being seen on social media showing off an array of high-powered weapons that they're holding onto. After finishing his show, King Von would be seen leaving Opium in an SUV, and interestingly, that truck can be heard playing the NBA Youngboy song My Window as it was driving away.
There'll be a lot of cars behind him. Stop playing!
Apparently Von would confuse his team by choosing not to go back to his Airbnb as his security crew initially thought. Instead, Von would take a last-minute and unexplained detour to the Monaco Hookah Lounge where Quando Rondo was, with King Von's manager, 100K Track, later telling DJ Vlad that his team was blindsided by the change in plan.
He went over there to the after party, and then his driver and his homeboy let us know that we was redirected. We're thinking we're going to go to the Airbnb or the hotel.
At around 3:20 on November the 6th, King Von would find himself outside the Monaco Hookah Lounge in Atlanta. Perhaps he knew Quando Rondo would be there, or perhaps it was just a coincidence. All we know is that while there, Von approached Quando Rondo and began assaulting him with a flurry of punches, with Quando's close friend Lil Tim opening fire and striking King Von 4 times. Security footage of the fight and subsequent shooting would circulate online after the incident. What happened that night is that Von walked up to Quando Rondo and sucker punched him outside the club and proceeding to beat him up in front of a huge crowd. But after throwing a few punches, Quando's friend Lil Tim would jump out of a car and shoot King Von 4 times. Von's friends from O Block, Slutty and Louie would attempt to shoot Lil Tim, leaving him wounded but not dead. After shooting Lil Tim to the ground, they would attempt to execute him on the floor, but the gun would jam. Whilst this is going on, a wounded King Von continues to wrestle with Quando Rondo on the floor. At this point, Von's other friend Muwop would approach, punching Quando Rondo to the ground and separating him from Von. Meanwhile, after failing to execute Lil Tim, Slutty and Louie would attempt to flee the scene, without realizing that they were running directly towards undercover police officers who would open fire, believing that their lives were in danger too. The police would kill Slutty and leave Louie in critical condition. Muwop and other O-Block members would drag King Von's limp body to a waiting car and rush him to the hospital. But what's even more crazy is that Quando Rondo would take Lil Tim to the very same hospital that King Von and his team were at, with Quando Rondo even going live, showing himself trying to get Tim into the hospital and get assistance. THF Bezu would later post saying that he'd seen Quando at the hospital, suggesting that they would have shot him if he didn't start recording. But ultimately, King Von would be rushed into emergency surgery in critical condition after the shooting. He would ultimately die in hospital, with media all around the world waking up to the news and reporting on his death.
Yeah, Rick and Sean, according to GBI, rapper King Von and his group were at Opium nightclub before making their way here to Monaco Hookah Lounge, then to the parking lot where chaos ensued. Believe it or not, this all playing out right in front of 2 Atlanta police officers.
One of them was actually inside his patrol car or next to his patrol car with his blue lights on.
APD responding, attempting to stop the shooting, but it was too late.
It hit like the one officer that did respond. He tried to protect himself and stop what was going on.
The investigation on this shootout will continue. No officers were injured during this incident. According to GBI, this is the 82nd officer-involved shooting that they've been requested to investigate in 2020.
The best beer in America just got better. Sam Adams Boston Lager, now brighter.
After King Von died, some of the friends of people Von was rumoured to have killed would post on social media. Billionaire Black would post a picture of Modell McCambry, and the person who was shot with Modell the night he was killed posted a picture of FBG Duck, saying that Duck would be happy greeting Von in the afterlife. P5, aka Crack's cousin, would post on Facebook saying that he had been praying for the day that King Von would be killed, whilst other friends of Crack would post tributes now that their friend's killer was no longer alive. Apparently, Crack's little brother would even post saying that they caught 2 of the 3 people who were present when Crack was killed, and suggesting that they were disappointed not to be the ones who killed Von. Outside of Chicago, affiliates of NBA Youngboy like Big B would mock King Von in an Instagram story, saying that it was funny that he was the one who started the beef and dissing NBA Youngboy, and now he was the one dead.
The joke's on you, you diss, now you getting rapped down. Yeah. Yeah.
Meanwhile, people on Von's side would express their heartbreak at losing their main man. Asian Doll claimed to want to die when the news came out, and Lil Durk would mourn the loss of his twin. Even rap's #1 superstar Drake would post a tribute to Von after he passed. NBA Youngboy's biggest enemy, Fredo Bang, would also mourn the loss of Von too. 12 days after his final tweet, somebody would take control of King Von's Twitter account, releasing a statement thanking everybody who supported Von whilst he was alive. There would be a media frenzy around King Von's death. Funeral homes were also refusing to take King Von's body due to fears of violence at the ceremony. And when the family finally found a place that was willing to host the funeral for Chicago's most famous killer, they were forced to have it at 1 day's notice. Eventually, Von would get the peaceful burial his family had hoped for, with Von being laid to rest in Chicago on November 14th, 2020, with pictures of Von's funeral program and casket being posted on social media. But being such a divisive figure in Chicago gang politics, Von's enemies continue to disrespect his gravesite to this very day. Naturally, Von's death sparked a strong response from many of his supporters. 600 Breezy claimed to be headed to NBA Youngboy's hood at 150 miles an hour with the Steppers. BJ, who was also shot the night that King Von was killed, would also post saying that their ops are cursed now that O-Block is after them. Meanwhile, NBA Youngboy affiliate Michi replied and said that people only really slide in silence.
Right there all day, doing no hell, scary, doing all that capping, get on that shit, man, real don't speak. Hey, if you go do something, man, do something. You don't come to no city and annihilate you in the city, man. You was supposed to slab out that, man.
Von was eventually memorialized in his native O Block with a painting that became a tourist spot. This mural became a pilgrimage for both die-hard fans who wanted to show their love and death-defying ops who wanted to show that they're not scared to come to O Block, with longtime rival FBG Cash posting up at the mural with a disrespectful caption towards Von, with Cash himself ending up being killed only months later. Once a few months passed from Von's death, his self-proclaimed twin Lil Durk would dedicate his next album, The Voice, to King Von, releasing it on December the 24th, 2020, with a front cover that depicted Durk and Von together. And eventually, Quando Rondo would break his silence about his involvement in the incident that claimed King Von's life. On the 20th of November 2020, Quando Rondo releases the song End of Story, a song that's title is a disrespectful play on Von's most popular song, Crazy Story. And in the song, Quando touches on the incident that ended up taking King Von's life, expressing frustration about being judged and saying that other people's friends wouldn't have defended him like Lil Tim did, as well as essentially dissing King Von and his friends, saying, "Blood on your brother on the ground, go pick your mans up," as well as rapping that him and Tim are claiming self-defense and that Von should have never put his hands on Quando. He would also claim that this situation led to $1 million bounty being put on his head. And following the release of this song, he would also elaborate further on the events that unfolded that night in an extended interview with Angela Yee, speaking on the situation, saying that the night that Von was killed, he thought he was just letting a group of random people walk past before being suddenly sucker punched by Von.
Like, I'm thinking it's some regular individual. Next thing you know, a nigga hit me.
Quando would say that the entire incident felt like an out-of-body experience to him.
It's like I had an out-of-body experience.
Quando would also claim that the moment that King Von came over and started to fight with him, he felt like the devil was coming to get him.
Like, it's like the devil was coming to get me, like...
Quando explained to Angela Yee that Lil Tim was his day one homie and he would protect him from anything.
One thing about it, he gonna protect me with anything, which anybody should do.
Apparently, while the gunshots were going off, Quando says that he prayed, unaware of what was going on and only coming to his senses after both Von and Tim had been shot.
On some out loud screaming jive, like out of body experience. It's like everything went back normal and I've been back down.
Quando was adamant that he didn't even know that it was King Von that he'd been fighting until the next day.
I didn't know this was him. Ma'am, I swear to God, on my soul, ma'am, like, ma'am.
Quando would also say that he didn't know about the beef between Youngboy's camp and King Von's camp when this all went down.
Cause I know dude just dropped the tape. Like, was they trying to do something to me? Just boost him up or like, what? I don't know.
You just don't know where. You just don't know where it came from. You have no idea.
However, unfortunately for Quando Rondo, there would be more tragedies headed his way personally following the death of Von. In the aftermath, Quando Rondo and his team would be a frequent target of what appeared to be revenge attacks. He would be targeted in a shooting at a convenience store in Georgia on the 2nd of May 2021, luckily escaping without injury. But in the next incident, Quando would be less lucky. On August the 20th, 2022, Quando Rondo and his entourage would be targeted in a shooting in Los Angeles, an incident which left his close friend Lil Pab dead and a devastated Quando Rondo being recorded at the scene in the immediate aftermath.
Game Warden Joe Pickett. I'm gonna need to see your license.
King Von's life was one of extremes. He grew up in extreme poverty with a major disadvantage. He found himself being drugged into the extremely violent streets of Chicago, and he ended up being allegedly one of the most violent killers in O Block's history. By the time he died, he had been connected to at least 11 murders that I've read about. But ultimately, we'll probably never know the full extent of Von's activities in the streets. There's no doubt that Von was a prolific gangbanger and shooter, but having spent so much time analysing him and the things that he did in his life, it's hard to ignore the pleasure and pride that he seemed to get, not just from killing, but being known as a killer. An everyday gang member or even mob hitman tends to kill for survival or money. But for Von, reading all of his tweets and lyrics, it's clear that he derived a great deal of psychological pleasure from the killings that he was associated with. It seemed like he was more satisfied by carrying out a hit in the streets than making a hit record. And perhaps that's why, when he got rich and famous as a rapper, he couldn't leave that in the past. Because he wasn't killing to survive, he was killing for fun, and gaining satisfaction from the whole world knowing what he had done. There was no reason for Von to take so much pleasure in the murder of Can't Get Right, and there really was no reason for Von to put a $100,000 bounty on FBG Duck's head. Von would have been a millionaire by this point, and FBG Duck was also a successful rapper in his own right. Duck wasn't a threat to the survival of Von or any of his friends at this point. No, to Von, Duck was just another trophy, another body on his tally, another score on the board. Sadly, many people look up to King Von for what he did in the streets, but I don't think that's much different from how other serial killers seem to get idolized. Someone like Jeffrey Dahmer was known for targeting black gay men in his community, partly due to the fact that he knew he could get away with it. And when it comes to King Von's alleged victims, it seems like he had a type too. Young black men and women from the same poor and overpopulated area he was from. Because, perhaps like Jeffrey Dahmer, Von knew that the cops simply didn't care enough to solve these crimes, so he knew he would get away with it. And he did get away with it. For his entire life. Von would beat every murder investigation that his name was ever placed in. But if he was alive today, he very well may have been facing a life in prison for his role in the killing of FBG Duck. Von gave the world a lot of great music that told one of the most unique and raw stories to have ever come out of the Chicago drill scene. Von will definitely be remembered as one of the biggest and best rappers to ever emerge out of the city. He made great music, but also did terrible things. And so realistically, he'll probably also be remembered as rap's very first serial killer.
When you get your next big idea,
I was King Von documentary. But I think it was I think they really did. They did their research. Right on things I didn't know. Honestly, don't know color, but I guess by definition, but I honestly failed him. Community failed him. That community that should have never been a thing. That should never have been as bad. They haven't been doing their job, and because their lack of presence and not doing their jobs and not solving the crimes that should be their job, busy trying to plant drugs and busy framing innocent to actually solve actual murders. If really actually that King Von wouldn't have been able to damage. And like it, just like this documentary said, he been reporting on everything he's doing for the longest time. Been self-snitching on himself for the longest time. Like, you can't get no harder than that. Okay. I think it was crazy how they were saying everybody was bringing guns to their school. Like, I feel like that was ridiculous. Like, the teachers didn't know guns were being attempt to stop that poisoning your neighborhood. I'm not trying to remove any responsibility that had for himself. Didn't have to be. I feel like there was too much senseless. That's me not knowing Chicago. I have family out there, but I don't hang rarely. It's sad, but everybody's just happy with an eye for an eye. Everybody's happy with being able to get revenge and thinking that no one's gonna get revenge for them. Like Rondo. I'm not saying that that's come. I don't know. It's a sad story. How no matter how you slice it, there are nobody out. There's nobody coming out clean. No one's gonna be like, oh yeah, I did it. I achieved my goals. Like that, body comes out dirty. Want to? I don't like how everybody throwing these. Even though, listen, at the same time, and don't get it wrong, documentary did change the way I think about things, about how Vaughn was, but I neglect every way. That I would never. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think if I was anybody who lived in Chicago, I'd leave. I wouldn't be there. There's nothing there. I don't. That's ridiculous. The whole situation. Too much senseless murdering, killing this person. So now I gotta kill back, and I get it. I'm not saying if I was in my. All right, guys. Anyways, thank you everybody for watching. I appreciate you stop by. Subscribers out. Subscribe to the channel for this content. Subscribe. Let me know what kind of documentary you guys want. See, definitely live stream. I will not this again. Definitely live stream next week. We'll see. If there's any anybody's life you would like to documentary, watch it about their lives. That's what we're here for. I do the live stream. I do post up videos of talking about different topics that life. Have to be rap. It could be as Chris Rock getting not slapped out of him. It could be something as simple as what's it? I forgot the woman's name. Wives, whatever, Atlanta, whatever crap. A woman who had a funeral for her dog. I don't. We did actually have a conversation about that. I'm gonna put up on it. But if you guys have anything that you guys want to hear, just subscribe to the channel. Comment on the comment on the video. Let us know what your opinions are, what you like, don't like, what you want to see on the channel. So again, everybody, thank you for subscribing. We're a brand new channel. No one knows who we are right now. Starting out, trying to make a name for ourselves. And I appreciate it. Safe. Stay out of trouble. Get money. Get money the safe way, reliable way. Self in harm's way. Or in harm's way. Guys open. Okay. And definitely have another live stream next week on Wednesday. So thank you everybody again. Night. Stay safe out.